Okudilio, Nyekelanio, Olisamalugo, Koen, Menenua. Okudilio, Nyekelanio, Chukuna Malugo, Yobiadio, Cha. Agaranya chogo kowe bili, agaranya chogo kowe rienio. Owe chuku bezie chuku, nuche chukwa busigi fege meo, nuche chukwa busia ifege meo. Ni fosolo ne ase alibazie. Obwe bebe agaranya muliba, obwe wuru agaranya bibe solia, mano agaranya wa, obwe afiozi ni pakwa. Agaranya chogo kowe bili, agaranya chogo kowe rienio. Obwe chikubezio lisa. Kodili ma, kodili bemo, kodili wakema, kodili wanima. Naino kwane we beluge beluo. Kodili ma, kodili bemo, kodili kemo, kodili heyo. Ibedwe me wanem, nikadie zibo hewo.
Hello, it's good to see you this evening. Every single one of you will be tuning in. Now, those who are already in the studio and those who are going to come in later, we appreciate every single one of you. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. We've been promising for a while that we're going to hold this program. So this is going to be one of the first in a series we're going to hold on the discussion concerning the time and the seasons in which we are in. You are welcome. I am just holding forth for Dr. Damages, as you all know. My name is KJ, and for this evening, we will have a very, 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 very important discussion. As this discussion is not going to end today, but we hear your views and also other people's views on what they feel. And now, this evening, we'll be laying emphasis on the constant discussion of what Biafra stands for. Since this is a Biafran week, so it's in continuation of what is going on in this month. This is the Biafran month, where people are being, the Igbos especially, and those of the southern eastern Nigeria, the southeast, are celebrating those people who fought for many of us to remain alive today. Some of them paid the ultimate price. Some of them are still living with various parts of their body, no longer with them. I don't want to use the name, the word, limbs. But we want to celebrate those people who were courageous to stand against the situation, despite the fact that they did not have arms, they did not have nothing. It was sheer human determination, a fight for survival. The fight for survival is what we, as people, are gradually losing. That is why people, especially people in government, rough shoulder over all of us, and nobody seemed to be able to have a response. Now, so what are we going to be discussing? We're going to be revisiting the Biafra, the ghost of the Biafra. In other words, why is it not going away? Why is this, this not going away? And of course, the question from Nnamdi Kanu's question: what is the path that you see, and what is the way forward? Are we constantly going to continue to discuss this thing in the shadows, or is it time for the federal government to put to rest some of these things? Before I invite my guests, I want to give you, a story once told by a pastor of mine. He said there was a guy who was working in McDonald's, and the rules in that McDonald's, you don't have chicken, you don't take any chicken, you don't take the food away and all that. If you must do that, you have to pay for it. But this guy was working there and had this girlfriend who comes in. And so whenever the girlfriend comes in, he tries to, take some of the chicken and all that and package it for her and give her, and she goes. And one of these occasions, one of the staff was watching him. And as soon as he did that and the girlfriend went, the staff came back and said, man, I've been watching you for a while now. You've been doing this thing on and on and on, So today I caught you. And the guy was so afraid, he was worried because he's going to lose his job if he's reported and all that. And so he said to the guy, please forgive me. He said, no problem. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to report you. Just that, I have something I want to do during my break time. It's going to be 1 hour. You know what? You have to do my shift for that period. And the guy said, okay, fair enough. So the guy clocked in for him and did his shift and did his own. The next day, the guy came up again. Remember yesterday? And the guy said, okay, I'll do it again. So this guy became a torment for this is fellow staff for that single chicken that he gave to his girlfriend. And so what did he do? He kept going on and on and on. So one day, because of frustration, this guy went straight to the boss and said to the boss, you know what, I've come to resign. Here's my resign. So the boss said, why are you resigning? He said, well, because I did this, and I know the policy said that once you take in something, you should go. So he has resigned. And the boss said, well, I didn't notice. He said, yeah, but I noticed, and that's what I did. The boss said, okay, you know what? Because you came by yourself, okay, to say this, I leave you. I forgive you. You could go ahead and do your work. Don't do it next time. The guy was so excited and went. Now, this other guy who has been tormenting him because of what he has done, didn't come to work. I know, called in and say, hey, today I'm not going to come to work. You cover for me, So the guy said, no, I'm not going to cover for you. He said, have you forgotten? I'm going to tell the boss. He said, no, I've already told the boss myself. So you don't have to tell the boss any longer. So if you don't come today, you're not going to get paid. That is what we have been doing in Nigeria. We've been hiding and talking about this. And we have constantly asked that this is made a public, show, a public discussion. People are invited. Those who lost loved ones, those who are still living with the pain, those who are still, should be brought to one place and this issue discussed and the solution found. Are we building a nation? If we are building a nation, is there any nation in the world that have double standard for its citizens and have completely become a nation? If there is, we don't know. I don't know of anyone. But if you know, let's discuss about it. Today is going to be a very interesting discussion. We have a series of videos I'm going to show, and I don't know. Some of them I have not been able to. I didn't get a clearance whether they are copyrighted or not. But if they are not, we will keep having a discussion. So on that faithful note, I say let us start this thing. All right. Now, there's something that we Igbos have been told many times by non-Igbos, that Emeka Odmogu Ojukwu said that Biafra can never be actualized, and that so Biafra is no longer obtainable. Let's start from there. So before we have a very useful, let's start from there. Let's watch the video together.
told my English.
So that last time.
I've always been told my English was quite clear. I don't need to explain further. There would be a breakdown of law and order. That's what they're begging for. I just wanted everybody to know that I'm not too old to shy away such responsibility if it comes. That's all. How can you take a people like the Ndibo and try and to impose on them a leadership? It's not possible. It was possible before, but after Biafra, no. Everybody knows that. That's what I really meant. Am I clearer now?
Very, very, very clear.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nigeria has always had a leader, and the problem is how good, relatively good is a leader. What leaderless? Oh no, Nigeria has always had a leader. Am I part of the leadership of Nigeria? I thought that door was closed, and I was caught on the other side. So I don't count when it comes to that. And that is one of the problems that Nigeria has.
Was that why you didn't sign that petition?
No, I didn't sign. Okay. It wasn't necessary. But let's get this quite straight. The president is supposed to be sick. If that is so, I wish him quick recovery. If it is not so, I wish him out of the chair. Have I made myself clear now?
You're very clear. I mean, if he's sick to the point that he can no longer continue, what would you expect of him to do? And that's why I'm asking you why you didn't sign this petition.
I would want him to say so, to admit it and say so.
Are you going to run for office again?
Oh, forgive me.
Yes.
Wait and see. Okay? Wait and see.
Thank you.
I am a young man.
That is right.
Wait and see.
Okay, there's many takeaway there. That is Ojukwu, and you could be able to tell what he was, what he was inferring in whatever the answers he gave in that interview. But one of the things he made very clear is that, which is what we have always said concerning the Igbo as a nation. We do not, and we will never, I think, and I repeat myself, we do not have king apart from God. God is our king. Every other person who claims to be a king or who has taken the title the king is only trying to imitate what was never. But in the Igbo setting, that as far as I know, we only bow to God as the God of the universe. We do not bow to kings, and we will always, we always question situations. In fact, let me put it this way. When I was growing up, I was told that we do not train our children not to be, radicals. We train our children, we are trained to be able to ask questions. We must ask those difficult questions and get answers. You ask your father those questions. You ask your community those questions. You ask. It's only by asking and trying to find out that you can now be able to determine how you can move that nation or move that community forward. So for us, it's a little bit different. Unlike certain people who do not like radicals in their society, we the Igbos, we welcome radicals. We only try to shape you so that you know exactly how to go about. We don't say because you're a radical, you're a bad child. No, we tell you, okay, this is how to apply yourself so that your God-given talent of being able to quest and push the frontier forward, push the frontier, open the lid, a new path It's only those who ask if the heaven touching the earth in the next community that are actually able to ask. I mean, able to bring development to their community. If we are so satisfied that the heaven is whatever it is and earth whatever it, such communities may not, prosper for too long. Anyway, having said that, I have so many other things. Now, bear in mind what Ojukwu said. You can't impose leadership on the Igbos, And then what he eventually gets is what we are seeing now in the southeast. Why is Nnamdi Kanu so relevant? Nnamdi Kanu is relevant because the people who have decided to occupy positions of power in the east are not the people that the Igbos regard as their leaders, because they do not speak on our behalf. The only time now we begin to see a ray of change and hope is what is going on, what is beginning to, because Nnamdi Kanu is on the scene. And majority of those who are in power in the southeast, this is my own thinking. I'm not wishing that he comes out, because they think that he will upturn the powers that they amassed for themselves. And that's one of the things why they are not keen in pursuing the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Anyway, let us hear this, just in case you think I'm inferring. Remember that many years ago, like 2-3 months ago, no, more than 3 months ago, sometime this year, there was a bill that was passed where they allocated all kinds of things to the Nigerian, southeast, south, northeast, northwest, and all the other places. And the southeast was excluded. In Buhari's time, the southeast was excluded. Excuse me. Now, in this time that we and I live, this is what we have.
We have done everything possible to see if they can bring up Ivo Dam. And here, a zone is... When will Southeast even have lion's share in any particular project? Mr. President, if this is an omission, it is an expensive omission. The Southeast cannot continually to be treated the way Nigeria is treating the Southeast. Let me give you an instance. Out of the dams that were listed here on the Southeast, Ivo Dam was last funded about 12 years ago with a 5 billion naira spent on it, and it has been abandoned by Nigeria for the last 12 years. I had written 3 letters to the Ministry of Water Resources. We have done everything possible to see if they can bring up Ivo Dam. And here, a zone is allocated 66 billion, and the entire South is at 0. What kind of omission is that?
Mr. President, I think we should be very mindful of commenting on the infrastructure renewed hope project, because we should see it holistically. This is just a segment of the renewed hope agenda on the infrastructure. We have a road infrastructure, we have power infrastructure, we have let me learn, please. Yes. Mr. President, I have the floor, and let me
you are protected.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President. So in doing this, we should consider what has been allocated in the other sectors. I'm not saying that the Southeast should be excluded. No, on the contrary, they should also be included, but we have to bear in mind what the whole infrastructure project are all about. Development of the whole country, irrespective of the state and
thank you very much. Thank you.
So, of recent, there was a release of over 1.3 trillion naira, and the Southwest had the lion's share. And I believe if you go deep into it, if you check the ministry's budget, you will see some balancing. And this thing is just being released gradually.
Thank you for the guidance.
So we shouldn't jump into conclusions.
Thank you for the guidance.
We shouldn't just jump into conclusions.
Thank you,
that
Mr.
is
President.
Imbalance, that is sidelining. Rather, we should wait till we get the true picture. Thank you very much.
I'll be brief. From what, with due respect to Senator Lero, who said lion share to the Southwest, when will Southeast even have lion share in any particular project? Mr. President, if this is an omission, it is an expensive omission. The Southeast cannot continually to be treated the way Nigeria is treating the Southeast. Let me give you an instance. Out of the dams that were listed here on the Southeast, Ivo Dam was last funded about 12 years ago with a 5 billion naira spent on it, and it has been abandoned by Nigeria for the last 12 years. I had written 3 letters to the Ministry of Water Resources. We have done everything possible to see if they can bring up Ivo Dam, and here a zone is allocated 66 billion, and the entire South is at 0. What kind of omission is that, Mr. President?
Thank you.
We should be treated better than this, sir.
Thank you.
Senator.
Mr. President.
Yes. Senator Aliyu.
My dear colleagues. Mr. President, a very ordinary person. Mr. President, in support of what Alero has just observed, I want to also point out that look at the prayer of the move of this motion, asking for 380 billion, which is bigger than all other applications in all sorts. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's be guided by common sense and reasoning. Thank you. I do also.
Senator.
Mr. President, I just want to talk generally. You see, this is a very good issue. That's pointing out something that's going on. Many of us have been crying of marginalization. Many of us have cried on several issues where North is completely was neglected. And I'm sure this may not be the end. Mr. President, no, I want you to hear this story. You are the policy makers. I want to draw the attention of the makers of the Renewed Hope agenda. I want them to bear in mind that every part of this country is part of Nigeria, and every part of this country deserves infrastructural development. It is not wise in allocating resources to sometimes over-allocate to one zone at the expense of other zones. Here on this floor, I talk about the way North was completely neglected in terms of road infrastructure, where trillions are being spent on some section of the country, no cover is being spent in the Northeast. We said it. We also raised the issue of agriculture, where money was being allocated to some zones, and our zone was not there. So, Mr. President, is for Nigeria, and it's for other Nigerians. The makers of this agenda should be advised to bear in mind the diversity and the necessity to cover every section of this country in allocated resources. It's not only this one. There are so many areas, and that if we want to go through one by one, we'll continue to debate. So I think there's general need for them to review their position and ensure that every part of this country, whether southeast, southwest, south-south, northeast, we all need development, and we need to be allocated adequately and fairly and equitably in whatever they do. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I have just issue is something that can be dealt with administratively. I told him that we can call the minister, talk to him, or the DG budget, that there's an omission here, and that will be corrected. Because as human beings, we cannot be perfect all the time. It could be a genuine omission, right? So, and it is on that premise that the leader just approached me now. We've taken it upon ourselves, the leadership will interface with the relevant, office of the executive arm of the government so that we can resolve this issue. It's not something, it's our government. And we have a president that listens to the plight of his people. We have never gone to him to ask for anything of this kind of thing. I mean, this kind of thing without, getting resolved immediately. Somebody.
Yeah, I hope you all were following the discussion. We're talking about a zone in Nigeria that has over 70 million people. The Southeast is made up of over 70 million people. And we have to beg to be included in the national planning of our country. Gentlemen, come on. Is there any reasonable person? In fact, look at what the so-called speaker was saying. Look at what he's saying. They have to go and negotiate. In fact, they have to plead with the budget director or the minister so that the Southeast can be included. And when we are talking about marginalization, some people will be making noise. You are talking about going to... So if you did not include 70 million people in the budgeting of your nation, and you call it an omission, it then means that those people are not important. It then means that they're not part of the whole. See, as a Christian, and I'll go into the Bible to give my example. Samuel went to the house of Jesse because God had instructed him to go and anoint one of the sons of Jesse as king of Israel. When he got there, Jesse introduced his sons, the one he considers as his sons, the ones he looks at when he's walking in the streets of Israel. The people will be hailing him because of those his sons who are generals in the army, who were talked about. They were handsome, they have six packs. He called them to meet with the prophet. Unfortunately, none of them was chosen. None. In fact, Jesse himself was surprised that Samuel didn't see anybody among his sons. This is respected senior generals that have medals hanging from their shoulder to their stomach. They didn't see anybody. And Samuel asked a question. Are these all your sons? Because God is telling him, these ones you are seeing are not among the people I'm asking you to go and anoint. And he said, oh, yes. There's one, Efulefu. He's somewhere, with the sheep in the bush. Yeah, of course, it can't be that one you're looking for. You should be looking for these ones who people, these ones that have made their mark in Israel. And Samuel said, we will not sit down until that Efulefu comes, for God had chosen him for himself as king. Gentlemen, if you are listening to me where you are, I want to say something very, very, very spiritual here. Could this be the reason why Nigeria is not moving forward? Maybe the one who the Lord wants to anoint is the one that they are always forgetting to count among the very eloquent, well-respected regions of Nigeria. It may not, and I don't say this so that people begin to think I'm talking about the people of Nigeria. No, this is about the leadership of Nigeria. This is about a particular set of people, the oligarchies, the establishment, who have decided in their own account that the southeast of Nigeria will be treated with levity as people who do not matter. But you could say that people don't matter. It's not left to you, it's left to what God will decide on behalf of the people. Having said that, I have a righteous man behind the stage. I will get you in, so give me your input. But let's finish this video. I want you to hear what the man said eventually.
Who listens, and even the ministers, they always listen. Whatever we bring to them that are in the interest of the nation, they listen and get that done. So let us not over debate this matter. We have just consulted. We'll go ahead and meet the relevant office to sort out this matter. What we need is result, to see that there's equity in the distribution of the wealth of this country. And we know the government is doing very much in respect to that. So please, let's not overflow this issue. Leader, can you just one or two words so that we get this in line with what discussed with you right now, so that we can move ahead?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and we heard ourselves very clearly and very loudly as well. And I believe it's an issue that can be debated all day, because in every geopolitical zone that you turn to, there will be one issue or the other that they would have wished were handled differently. My own humble appeal to our colleagues, and by way of also a motion, is to say that we step down further consideration of this motion to allow time for the leadership of this Senate to interface with the Honorable Minister of Water Resources. Luckily, the mover of this motion, distinguished Senator Engineer Kenneth Emeka Eze, is the one coordinating for us right now the Senate Committee on Water Resources. So he's the deputy chairman, and as far as I'm concerned, we also work with him and his committee in interfacing with the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, and then we'll revert back to this house. I so move.
So you move for the. So yeah, those in favor of the motion moved by the leader in order to resolve this issue amicably and the best manner possible, that this motion be stood down. Those in favor, and seconded by the minority leader, those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Elite of Senate.
The ayes have it. In a nation, in a nation that calls itself a nation, they will throw out that bill because it wouldn't even get to that point. That, I mean, imagine, because we always give an example of America. Imagine that a bill is brought, to the Senate to debate for allocation of resources in America, and one section of America, say northeast, north, the east part of America is excluded, and then a senator will, be beggarly about it, and even the Igbo senator was even pleading that they should consider them. Well, I will invite righteous man in. The righteous man, you're welcome. The Bible says that let righteousness reign. In the book of Amos, he says he does not want you people. He doesn't want your cry. He doesn't want your this thing. You who sell your mudu of rice, you press it in so that the ordinary man, when he buys, he doesn't even buy half a mudu because you have already boxed it in. You make sure that the poor are almost dying, and you come to God to say, God, thank you for this thing. He say, get away, get behind me. If you want to show God you love God, say, let righteousness roll down like an overflowing stream. And that's what the book of Amos said. But we are full of people who fear God, or people who worship God, and yet we do not carry such things to governance. You're welcome. Can you make your opening statement? Yeah, I can't hear you, righteous man.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I say good evening from here, Mr. KJ.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for hosting the. It's really good that we discuss. I think tomorrow will be the Heroes Day. It is good we discuss this issue. The truth be told, I know it is very difficult in the Nigerian setting for honest individuals to speak out, to speak truth to power, especially when it does not, concern their region. I give you an example. There was a program I attended sometimes ago, that should be about 15, 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It was held in one of the branch of the biggest church, one of the biggest churches in Nigeria. And we are told that the state, that was during this man, former governor of Lagos State, they were destroying churches and mosques and houses and the rest. So in that meeting, one of the ministers addressing us happened to be from Southwest, you know. So, and he was a representative of one of these big church. I don't want to mention the name. And so he told us that, look, he pitied these small churches, that the GO, the general overseer, we just pick up phone and make a call, and that will settle it. There is no government that will touch their own structure, whether it is well built or not well built, you know. So, and after that meeting, that was the last time I attended PFN meeting because of that statement. So I'm buttressing my point by making reference to this. We have morally corrupted individuals. Especially, I am very sorry, I know there are a lot of good people, good Nigerians that reside abroad, that have moral, their morality is very high in their reasoning and in every undertaking. And also, majority also of Nigerians who reside abroad are morally corrupt. Because when we come to this platform and you hear how people express and make their comments, it is easy for you to discover or to know somebody that is morally corrupt, that has no sincerity, no truth in him or her. And so, I always say it here, I've lived over 40-something years in Lagos, in a good nation, in a standard nation, in a nation that recognizes every citizen as one, where there is no partiality, where the tribalism is not existing, or even if it's existing, it's hidden. I think I should be considered by every virtue, by every ramification, a Lagosian. I pay tax in Lagos. My wife paid tax in Lagos. My company paid tax in Lagos. Everything I have achieved affect Lagos economy. But look, during the electionary period, we were threatened not to vote. Even today, if you go out, they call you Omoibo. So the segregation, the lack of unity, the lack of coming together as one nation is too obvious. It's not hidden. It is only for me, I'm not saying it because I'm an Igbo man, but the truth be told, it is only an Igbo.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, I'm hearing you.
It's only an Igbo man that will be so happy to invest wherever he or she finds himself or herself. Travel to Abuja, go to Medugri, go to Kanu, go to Kaduna, go to Ibadan, go to Ondo, go to Edo. When I had the project, I spent almost 6 months in Edo State, GRA, very close to Archbishop Idahosa's church. I had a building I was undertaking there. I spent almost 6 months staying in Edo. It gave me exactly a good picture of the Igbo man. Majority of the houses in New Benin town and all this, that area, New Market Road, and they were all, majority of them owned by Igbos. No segregation. They find home in wherever they are. And yet, in investing their hard-earned money, you will see some indigenes of the land in collaboration with the state actors trying to diminish an Igbo man as if he's not worthy to exist. How can a nation make a project? Look at the budget. Do you know that this student loan, go and make research of what I'm saying right now. The student loan that APC government is parading, do you know the southeastern universities were not included? Make your research and findings. And it is deliberate. How can you make a 1.something trillion budget concerning dam? 5 eastern states were excluded. Deliberately. A population of over 70 million people. Imo State has the highest number of educated people in Nigeria. In every statistics of human endeavor, I don't think that the Igbo nation are lacking behind. Yet, people who are not supposed to talk, we malign the Igbos, treat us as if we're not human beings. In Lagos here, if you have any case and you go to Alausa or you go to any government quarter, even to the police station, and they discover you are an Igbo person, the way you will be treated, in fact, you will regret being part of this country. And these are the things that other people will commit, and you see them, oh, they will tell them, okay, do this, and go. So the Nigerian state is the one rejecting the Igbos, and it is the Igbos that want the Nigerian state to stand. And that is the truth. And I don't give a damn whatever any person may think about it. The reason why we're in Lagos, I keep saying this thing, and I say it without an apology. We're in Lagos because of 2 factors. Number 1, the international airport. Number 2, the seaport. When the Calabar and Port Harcourt seaport were working effectively, and River State seaport was working, which is deeper than the Lagos seaport, how many Igbos were residing in Lagos? So when the economic policy was taken to make sure that the Igbos leave their land undeveloped and migrate to other parts of Nigeria, that was when you see the population of Lagos and every other side, Igbo people start. Before, when we are trading in 1982, we used to travel to Onitsha to buy this bata shoe and bring it to Lagos to sell. Everything you need, you go to Onitsha because the seaports were working. So today, what is happening? All those businesses in the southeast that are supposed to make that area commercially viable, they have been shut down and relocated to Lagos State just because of this economic policy to malign and to bring down the Igbo man. So it is a deliberate thing, and that is what is fueling the agitations. When there is agitation, sit down and ask questions. Why is these people agitating? Rather, you will see people saying he is killing the. Since there was no agitation by Nnamdi Kanu, how far? What is the investment of the federal government in the southeast? How old is the agitation for self-determination of the Biafran people? When did it start? It's not up to 15 years. So
right.
if you minus that time, if you minus that time from the time of independence to today, is there any federal government presence in the southeast? So let me rest my case for now.
Thank you so much. Now let's Mr. Tony, you're welcome. Let me allow you to make your opening statement, and after that I can ask questions. You guys are welcome. It's going to be a robust discussion. I just checked. So far I don't have any flag on the Emeka book, which was narrated by Fred Forsyth himself. So we may use that as a backbone to hold our discussion, because I feel I have listened to it before, but because of this program, I went back to that documentary to rewatch it again, and use that to juxtapose what the professor spoke last Sunday on this platform also, and they are almost speaking from the same mouth. But Mr. Tony, you're welcome. Your view, is this agitation, or not agitation now, but this demand for actualization of the indigenous people of Biafra, is it worth it? And looking at what we have suffered so far, and I think you're a fair man, that's why I'm asking you this thing. looking at what has been meted to the Igbos, what are played from the seat of power in Abuja, what Righteous Man has said, and I didn't just even want to go to that university one where the universities were removed, the southeast university were removed from the the so-called student loan. I remember that, Tony, during our time, during when I was leaving primary school and secondary school, sorry, we didn't have school of basic studies. I wanted to go to the east because I wasn't fluent in Igbo, and I told my dad I wanted to go to the east to, but because there was no school of basic studies, okay, and I wasn't writing exactly what I mean. I didn't know anybody, but I thought with school of basic studies, anyhow you can start from wherever. There was never any school of basic studies, but there was school of basic studies all around Nigeria except in the east. That's the first time I noticed that, look, there's disparity here, because you can't just get up and go to school of basic. But there was SBS in Zaria, there was SBS in Makurdi, there was SBS every other place. So tell me, isn't that, how long shall this continue, and when will it be, we say enough is enough?
Okay, good evening, KJ. How you doing? Good evening, Righteous Man. And good evening or afternoon, those who are on the platform. Yeah, there's an Igbo proverb that says that a man who doesn't know where the rain started pelting him would not know where it's going to end. I think I have read quite a number of books on the Civil War, apart from a few eyewitness accounts and videos that I've seen. But one of the ones that the title, really struck me, that I think depicts exactly the picture by its title, is one by Emefina Izani, and the book is titled "In Biafra, Africa Died." In Biafra, Africa Died, the diplomatic plot. And then I also have some more recent books that are titled, one by Alabi Isama. He fought on the Biafran side. His mother from the north. He grew up in the north, enjoyed all the privileges in the north, but he's from Delta. So it was almost after he had retired that he now recovered his Delta roof and then changed his name to Alabi Isama. His book, is titled "The Tragedy of Victory, Nigeria-Biafra War." And this is somebody who fought on the side of Nigeria, and Nigeria won. But he titled his book "The Tragedy of Victory." In other words, the title just suggests that it was, if you look at it, depending on how you want to interpret it, I mean, you can't win and you call it a tragedy. So from there, we can begin to glean, and then you look at Chinua Achebe's own title. It talks about there was a country. So if you look at these three books, there are so many of them. I just looked at my collection and I picked out some of them. They all suggest if you look at the titles of these three books, they don't seem to portray something that will give anybody joy in terms of the title. In fact, there's a book that I quoted sometime, but it's not on Nigeria. It's on Ethiopia when Ethiopia was going through its very rough and difficult times. The book is Ethiopia, the country that cut off its head. It's a diary of revolution by Blair Thompson. It's a 1975 publication. And I think that is what Nigeria did in the Civil War, literally cut off his own head. It's a tragedy. I sometimes I wonder, where would Nigeria have been if the Civil War didn't come? Where would Nigeria have been if we were able to manage our independence? would have gone very, very far, because this is a nation that is so endowed, but here we are. We have not been able to manage the independence. We have fought the civil war. Even before the civil war, even before independence, there were signs. There were killings. Igbos were massacred in the north. I don't want to reduce this to ethnic thing, but since we're talking about Biafra, actually, it focuses more on the Igbos. So there have been signs of unrest, of ill feelings, of bitterness, of anger, of frustration. Like we said, partly fostered by the way that the colonial, that Britain put us together, and the part that they played in whipping up divide and rule and whipping up ethnic sentiments. So if the people who became Nigeria were left by themselves, we would have gone very, very far. If the North was left to develop by its own, we would have gone very far. They were not ready. And signs that they were not ready was why they introduced, for instance, Bariwa College came into existence. And then you read for 4 years, college, 4 years, and then you're off. And that's how all these remedial studies and basic studies came up. Because I have a cousin who studied at Ahmadu Bello University. She didn't have a school set. She went into remedial, then went in and did certificate, and then did diploma. And from diploma, she did university. She doesn't have school set. Now, these are things you couldn't do in the South. If you don't have school set, you can't get into the university. So it's you see that part of it is a way of the North trying to address this imbalance, and that has pushed us back. The same thing with the federal character and all those things. You have to literally wait for some sections of the country, so they were pulling us down. That is the truth. They were not ready. And if you look at our history from 1960 till date, you find out that the North has ruled the country, whether military or civil, much more than the South. They have enjoyed the resources, and you want to ask, what did they use these resources to do? You still have a lot of poverty. In fact, if you look at the statistics that we see or that we have been given, the North is the poorest. Zamfara is perhaps the richest state in Nigeria in terms of natural endowment, but it's the poorest. In terms of enrollment, educational enrollment is very, very low. In terms of revenue generation, is low. Security, very bad. Yet this is a state that is so endowed. Niger State, the biggest, the largest in terms of landmass. Now, part of the country is has been taken over by terrorists. So we have not been able to manage all these endowments. And most of all eyes have been put on the wealth, on the resources of the South, the oil and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And even then, we have not done much with the resources. So Nigeria is just tottering. It's sad. And I don't know. Yes.
Thank. I take that as your opening statement. There's a young man with us here, who I think I want to ask him the question directly, and his name is Stay Humble. Stay Humble. I want to ask you, looking at this title.
You still call me a young man.
Yes.
Okay.
From your face, you can see my own face is older than your own. Okay.
Okay.
So, is the ghost of Biafra pursuing you still? Or have you been able to get over it since you didn't witness any part of it? Or were you born at that time? No. So, what do you get? What's the feeling when you hear about the passion for which the more older people than yourself discuss this issue of Biafra?
Okay. Yeah, I would say that I've probably been more passionate about that subject than even the older people. Because growing up, my father fought on the Biafran side during the war. And I've read a lot about Nigeria, even pre-independence Nigeria, and even Nigeria, even before the amalgamation of Nigeria. Yeah, I've been to Zungeru, where the amalgamation took place. During my national service, I was fortunate to accompany the military humanitarian service to Zungeru for a 2-day outreach. So, sorry, 5-day outreach. Yeah, so I um, have also listened to a lot of people talk about Biafra. I lived with my grandmother as well, and she told me a lot of stories, and sang a lot of songs, that were sung during the war by the Biafran soldiers. Yeah, I don't want to sing some of them here. Yeah, they are really touching. Really, they are really, really touching songs that, always make me emotional each time I remember them. Um, Nigeria has gone through a lot of things. And some people will say, want to ask, if Nigeria had not gone through that war, what would Nigeria be? Some people envisage a Nigeria that would have been a paradise if not for the war. Yeah, I think that's ignorance on their part. Because if you read about Nigeria, the literature, the litany of literature available about Nigeria before the war, and even Nigeria during the First Republic. If you've read Chinua Achebe's A Man of the People, you would, see Nigeria, First Republic Nigeria. First of all, Nigeria was not designed to favor the Nigerians. Nigeria as it is created, structured to benefit the colonial masters. That's the summary of it. Yeah, so anyone that was hoping that, there was going to be a country, that will be blissful and that the Nigerians will prosper, blah, 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 yeah, I think it's coming from the place of ignorance. Because even Nigeria during the First Republic, there's a lot going on. And even why the military struck was because Nigeria was going to break into pieces with the level of corruption, with level of administrative incorrigibility, with all sorts of things going on in Nigeria. Even if you look at the military, for example, the British were not happy with the number of Northern officers in the military, and they were trying to recruit a lot of them by hook or crook, for them to populate the military. And then even the police, the Nigerian police, set up by the colonial people to be some kind of task master. It wasn't going to be the police that would provide security for the Nigerians. It was going to be a police that would represent the colonial masters, because the colonial masters were really brutal. The colonial masters were brutal, and even the reason why some of our locals were even skeptical about Christianity and even the denominations that came then is that even the religious leaders among the colonial masters were really brutal. If you even compare that with what happened in places like Cameroon, Congo, and the rest of them, they were so brutal. The Belgians, what they did in Congo, they slaughtered a lot of people, even in the name of religion, the rest. So, um, if not for the war, yeah, I think there would have been a pogrom, a genocide, sort of. They would have somehow, okay, because even before the war, thousands of people were being slaughtered in the north. If not for the war, I think they would have somehow managed to organize a genocide against a section of Nigeria, be it the west or even the east, somehow. Yeah, so I don't think Nigeria was going to be a prosperous country even apart from the war. It was always destined to be a Fuji house of commotion.
All right, thank you so much for your opening remarks. Humanism journalist, jihadist. I don't think we have seen you before, or is it a new title that you have?
Yes, it's a new title. You have seen me before, but the name is just below for real, not
Sorry?
humanism.
Yeah, if you,
You have
I can hear
seen
you.
me before. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, now I can hear you.
Yeah, I've been here, but under a different name, Pullo for real only, not humanism. This
Okay,
time
pull up
it's
for real.
humanism jihadist. So,
Great to have you.
thank
You
you.
you you are you are welcome, and we are
Thank
actually
you.
dealing with the Biafran question. Why is
Yeah.
it difficult for this topic or this issue to go away? What do you say? Because it's hearing you speak seems to me that you're not from the southeast, so you're going to
I'm
give
from
us
the northeast.
so give us your own perspective why this issue has continuously lingered. If you look at the video I played earlier in the National Assembly, they did a project that the whole nation was embarking on, and not one part of the southeast was mentioned. It's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time that this kind of thing has happened in the domain of the National Assembly, where the representative of all people of Nigeria are sitting. So we want to know: is it so easy for about 70 million people to be ignored in the national development?
Well, in my own perspective, it is not okay if you just say it like this. But if you provide a context in which this is stated, or if you listen to government spokesman or the Senate, probably they have a reason why they have done that. Even if it is not fair, but they may have a reason, no matter how. So I think maybe they've considered that area have enough resources to do all those things. As the previous guy was saying, like there is no balance between the north, south, and the east. The northerners were not ready in colonial English or British concept, but they were ready. Not, it doesn't mean that they didn't learn, they don't understand anything. They have their code, markets, police, and every other thing. That's why the British decided to introduce indirect rule because they have all of these things, and then they introduced direct rule to the other part of the country. So coming to the independence, I think it is the Igbo man that even insists Nigeria will be one. Nigeria will work for both Igbos, Yorubas, and the Hausa, the south, north, and the east. It was Nnamdi Azikiwe that ensured that, okay, this is a very good idea. Let's try it. And then who destroyed it again? It's an Igbo man again with the first coup. He destroyed it. And then the last one that present itself as too messy was an Igbo man feeling that he is entitled to be the leader, decided to secede from Nigeria and call his enclave Biafra. Had it been he has not done that, he has said, okay, he believed in what Nnamdi Azikiwe was saying. He can be a general. Since there's nobody ahead of him, he can find a way of ruling. Because as at that time, there's nothing like suspicion between Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. As we speak now, the Hausas, maybe they resent the Igbos. So also probably the Igbos, they feel like they are not comfortable with the two sides because these are the two sides that fought and killed their people in Biafra. So negotiating with these people will be very tricky. But at that time, when Ojukwu was at his peak, he may have chosen to remain silent and work his way up. That time there was nothing like, oh, we don't trust the Igbos or we don't trust anyone. He would have done that, but he decided to use arm and bring peace. Then after okay, and then he ran away and left his people to die. He ran away and left his people to die. And then what they do to the minorities in that area was very horrible. The minority tribes, they keep on getting them putting them, giving them guns even if they are not ready, and sending them to the front line. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's not the issue of Yoruba or Hausa that is hindering the actualization of Biafra. It is the other minority tribes there that refuse to forget what the Igbos did to them during Biafra. They are constantly being reminded that, oh, these guys, if we actually have Biafra, they will rule us forever. Nobody, if it is a democracy, they will continue ruling. We are just minorities.
Okay.
So I don't think we can agree to that. You
All
know
right.
it as well as I do that the Igbos will dominate and keep on ruling forever if Biafra is actualized. So even
Okay.
the person that introduced the Biafra, he regretted why he used weapon to fight against Nigeria, which led to the death and destruction of his own people and his own area. And he's
Okay.
not encouraging that anymore. But it has been revived under a different umbrella with Nnamdi Kanu. And the way it is presented, even I am not comfortable with that, given all the lies that he has been telling on social media and everything like, this is not Buhari, this is somebody from wherever, all the
Okay. No,
nasty
no,
conspiracies. No, I
hold,
don't like that, right? Really.
okay. All right. Thank you. Hold on. Let's not expand the net too wide because you probably not
I'm
only.
sorry, I just want to say something.
No, 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 no. Hold on.
Before you continue, I hope you are not going to give this guy the platform tonight, because if that's going to happen again, yeah, I'm going to leave here. You can't allow this gentleman to continue to come here to spew garbage. If you repeat what Dr. Damages did the other time, to give this guy the platform this night, yeah, I'm going to leave here.
Okay.
So
Stay humble, stay
I
humble.
thought
Just hold on,
I'm
hold on.
dealing with
Hey,
educated.
so humble.
Hold on,
Speak.
KJ,
Relax.
KJ, please,
Calm
What?
KJ,
down.
How do
please.
you limit the
Calm
freedom
We
of
need to
down.
expression?
correct. KJ, hold on.
Hold on.
KJ, please, we need to correct
Please.
something that you have said. Please, can you just allow me 1 minute?
Please,
Please,
there are
I'll be polite about it.
misinformation that
Please,
this man has
please,
given. KJ,
please.
please. A lot of
Hold
misinformation,
on,
and
hold
we
on.
All
need
right.
Stay
to
humble.
All
crush it
right. All
Please,
right.
hold on.
immediately. He has
Gentlemen,
lied.
Hold on,
if you
righteous man.
allow me moderate,
Righteous
if
man,
you
hold
allow me
on.
moderate.
Righteous man, hold on, please. In 1945, there was killing. This was before independence. There was killing of Igbos in the north. In 1953, there was killing of Igbos in Kano. So for you to come here and spew nonsense that there was no killing, it was Ojukwu or it was Nzogu that caused it, is that nonsense? You don't know the history. So don't come here and come and be talking rubbish.
Okay.
So now you think I can just
Hold
take you
on.
for your word?
Hold on.
Did you
Hold on.
provide any evidence? You're just
Hold
mentioning
on.
something random. Give me
Humanly.
a reference, an authoritative reference that I can go to and check and fact
The
check myself.
reference is
I thought
given to
I'm
you.
dealing
The
with
reference is
intellectual.
given to
They
you.
understand the
Is
role of
hidden in the
freedom
history
of
book
speech.
of Nigeria
Even
that your
if you
people
don't
Gentlemen.
know,
deliberately,
even
because
if
of
you
their
don't agree with what
backwardness,
somebody is saying, you should give him to express
because
himself.
of their backwardness, remove history in the Nigerian school. The references you're supposed to have, you're supposed to.
Hold on. Everybody hold on. Humanist, hold on. Righteous man, hold on. Listen, I decided to host this program, but we all need to listen. We all need to listen. No matter how the person's idea is not making sense to you, allow the person. And the time I give to the person, allow the person use the time. When the person finish, if you have any rebuttal, I'll give you an opportunity to do that. But now, what we are trying to do is to hold a conversation. If we can't even hold a conversation, then how can we even go forward? You see, the problem of tribalism and hatred is that once it starts, it's so difficult to deal with or to maybe bring it to a close. And that's what Nigerian people are underrating. They
KJ,
are
we're discussing history here, and people are listening, and a
so
lot of
listen,
these things are documented.
please,
So
if you
to come
if you
here
allow
and
me,
say that
hold on, Tony, allow me, please. If you allow me, I prepared for this program. I didn't just wake up and put on this thing. I did my own research. I have the book written by Freddy Forsyth on this place. I have documentary on this same issue taken before the war even ever started, the pogrom that went on and the place that were affected. I have that, and apart from that, I am a student of this history. It is Biafran history. I am a student of it. I met people who have taken part in it. My uncles fought in it. when I was talking about the prof on Sunday, I said I mentioned somebody who he knows. Kalokwe, I met him personally. I had a discussion with Kalokwe of blessed memory. Okay, so of course, if you read the Testament, that's the Kalokwe's book. But I had a one-on-one discussion with him because he also took part in the war. My elder brother was one of those people who they if you are 5 years and above, you are regarded as a scout. They were one of those boys, what they call them, boys command or whatever they call them at that time. So we have enough information. Let us manage and have a discussion. He has given his own understanding of what it is. We will also give our own. Let's be civil about it. And then everybody, please use your time. And after your time is finished, let another person speak. We'll be able to make some, like I said, this is just our first edition of this. We still have the second edition coming. Let's try and be organized. Thank you. All right, thank you. Somebody's mic is on. Thank you so much for what you have said, humanism jihadist. Now, here is
can I please complete myself or clear myself?
No, you had already used all your time.
I've been interrupted. If you pay attention, please. Just one statement. You asked me about my own perspective and own opinion. You are not
Nobody interrupted him, KJ.
So,
he has finished his time. He has used up his time, KJ.
Righteous man, calm down. Now, what's the problem?
If you don't have the mental capacity to understand what the host is saying, he just finished saying this thing about keeping quiet and letting somebody finish before you jump in. Why would you do that? How will we find a common ground and then start working? If I'm wrong and you're correcting me and I'm accepting that, okay, I was wrong, I didn't study that. That's how we move forward. If what I say you don't feel comfortable in that, fine. You're asking for my opinion and my perspective. And opinion and perspective is not the same as stating the fact. So if this is my opinion, this is what I say, how I see it. Then you correct me and how you see it is wrong. This is actually what happened. Refer to this book, that, or this documentary, or this and that. That's how we move forward. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. I agree with you. And you see, I was looking to get clearance to play that book, to play that documentary, and I have it because it's not copyrighted. So my book is on this program. But let us go forward and speak with the Blackstone. What's your view? The Blackstone himself. You have been enjoying the discussion so far. What do you have to say?
Thank you, KJ. Anyway, I have nothing to say because this is a topic I don't like to discuss about because it's too toxic, actually.
Okay, then that's fine. Then I'll go on. So you don't have to say anything.
Let me finish now.
What? No, fine. You don't have to say anything. You just listen.
It's toxic, but we need to discuss it. We have more.
Yeah, no. I said me. I don't say anybody. I said me. I don't like to get involved because it's a topic that's very controversial and it's very Actually, I know the person that like to bring old wounds to the limelight. You understand me? And when was Biafra War fought? When was that war fought? And at this time, if Nigeria cannot be able to forgive themselves or forgive about these things and then come together and build the country, I can say that then we have a bigger problem. Most countries fought wars. We know these things, but they have lived out of that war and they come together to build up their country. But today, we are still having as a reference, talking about it every time, creating more confusion, more tribal settlements and things like that. For me, that is why I said I don't like, it's not a topic I like to get involved with, you understand me, because I feel that if we cannot forgive ourselves and to build and then come together, there's not how Nigeria can be built. Because this settlement is now getting wider and wider, and at the end of the day, we are so pushing it into the young generation, even the generation yet unborn, because these issues will continue, right? I'm not saying that Biafra War was a very tragic incident, was a very bad thing, right? Some group of people really suffered in this war. You understand me? And we all know that when there is war, most of the time the less powerful people suffers actually, right? Like Israel and the Palestine this time was going on now, or Russia and the Ukraine, right? But at the end of the day, for me, what is most important is that is that cleansing, right? That attitude to forgive ourselves and to fathom a pathway to development, right? It's like two people fought, right? Tomorrow, the two friends have each other and they fight and everything. Tomorrow, you can settle themselves, also become friends, and they move together and begin to do more better things together. That is what I think we should be focusing on. I know that Biafra War took place, a lot of people died, right? But at the end of the day, we have to find a way to forgive ourselves and to move on as a country and work together as a country to build our country. That's my own perspective. That's why I don't like to get involved or discuss about the issue of Biafra War. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Blackstone says he doesn't want to engage in it because it's too emotional. The Igbos have a proverb that not because people will die in the war means that we should not go to war. If the thing that has to do with war comes, we will answer. That's the Igbo proverb. But having said that, I want to go on to, I'm trying to see the order in which you guys came in. Oti.
Yes.
Oti, yes, please.
Right.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I have to give thumbs up to KJ, the moderator, because you did the right thing, the right job, so people can express all sorts of opinions. Okay, that is a public place, public sphere, and having an opinion, expressing an opinion, does not mean that that opinion is correct or factual or right, but at least what is demanded and expected for any person participating in a public discourse is that the willingness, that sincerity of heart to learn, to be corrected. Okay, now because you may have an opinion based on wrong information. Yeah, but you can express it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, So it is the job of people participating in the discourse to correct maybe wrong information. Now what's his name again? I mean the humanist or something. What's the gentleman that spoke? But at least there are things that now, for example, there's a kind of an issue of a clear issue of injustice, unfairness, discrimination, in and sharing of a national treasure or resource or whatever. I mean, there's no way anybody can say that, can justify that on the basis that, this region is well off. So that kind of is an opinion, but I don't really see how anybody can, with any sense of like justice and understanding of what, if like, the nation, the federal state we have. So what such, if like a blatant injustice and unfairness, how it could be justified. But that's by the way. So now coming to this the Blackstone, for me, I don't really agonize so much over these things, because I think it's quite simple and plain. There are basics, I mean, to anything. It's not that people cannot come together, build, decide to build a nation, a country. First of all, you have to deal with the fundamentals, and then you can't be talking about forgiveness when people don't even recognize the offense, that's, or the evil that had been perpetrated, the injustice. I mean, if you don't have a simple recognition of this, you can begin to think about forgiveness. Are you with me? So if you don't have, if there's no repentance, there's no sense of contrition. So what are you talking about? What do you mean? What is forgiveness? And you have to deal with issues. You can't sweep them under the carpet and think they'll go away. It doesn't happen that way. That's not how life is. You have to deal with issues.
No, Oti, is it impossible to deal with the issues? Is it impossible, or is it just like lack of willingness?
No, it's not impossible, but you see, you have to deal with them.
So,
and it's not
no, excuse, no, why? Come, let me tell why I said what I said. Because it is possible to do anything if I to do anything. That willingness is there.
Sorry, let me finish what I'm saying. Because
so that misunderstand
me.
Let him
finish. Okay. Let him finish.
So what I mean by dealing with issues, okay, is this. Now, for example, by all for all intents and purposes, the war is ongoing. Because this thing, perhaps that's the reason why our friend from the north is justifying the exclusion of the southeast from national infrastructure. It caused the war. This is the penalty. You did this, you did that. You were too ambitious. You wanted to rule and all that. Are you with me? So in other words, there's no understanding that there was a war and then it's come to an end, and we have to kind of have that sense of acceptance and the acknowledgement that we can move forward as one nation, or at least start to lay the foundations for that nationhood. If it is not there, if that region that that is said to have waged war against Nigeria, quote unquote, because Biafra was it was a defensive enterprise. People have to defend themselves. It's a matter of it's a lot of nature. When you are attacked, you have to defend yourself, no matter how you have. So even so if Nigeria as an entity, as a supposedly one nation, one country, cannot reconcile, accept the XY Biafran state nation or Biafran people into as part of Nigeria. And then, that we've not started. So there's no, that is what I'm saying. The issues are still there.
All right. I get what you're saying.
We have to do. Okay? So acknowledge that this war has come to an end, and then a closure, we draw a line under it, and then we start afresh. So there's no point deceiving ourselves.
Thank you. And probably that's the reason why we hold these discussions. And as long as the authority do not see a need to have these discussions on this issue, and find a way. And I'm here, and I make bold to say that I'm not only holding this program just to discuss the Igbo question, but the minorities are also included. You see, I lived in Tivland for long, and I know how those who are of the minority tribe feels. So it's not even about just the Igbos, but we're using the Igbos as the real one that brought out his ugly head, and for which even till this moment as we speak, people are still being treated based on the reason that they are Igbos. They don't have they're not open to the access of the federal government because they are Igbos. Those are what we're trying to deal with. And I think we can have an open discussion rather than making it look as if it's somebody is here to try to. No, we are saying that these discussions must have to be held. Thank you so much, Mr. Oti. I appreciate that contribution. Now, between what's his name now? Yes, Mazi, Richo, and CM. Who came first? I'm not sure who came first. But
I think CM came first before.
Okay, CM. Okay, CM, you can go ahead and let's have your contribution.
Thank you very much, KJ. My greetings to each and every one of us on the platform, those that are listening, everybody.
Your audio has a problem. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not hearing me?
Yes.
Are you?
Now, I'm hearing you now.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's better now.
Okay, yeah. So let me say thank you, KJ, like I said before, and greetings to each and every one of us that are spared the time to be here, including those listening wherever you may be. I greet each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us. Well, fortuitously, this is May To some of us, we regard May as the month of Biafra because historically, the first pogrom that happened to Ndi Igbo was in May 1966. The almighty decree, what is it called? Decree 34, which most people blame Agui Ironsi for. I will still lecture on that decree and say something about it because ignorance is a terrible disease. Happened on May 24th, 1967. Gowon, who chose to set aside what they went to discuss at Aburi, created or damaged forever the four regions on May 27th, 1967. Then it's only a reflex that within 72 hours, based on consultation of the Eastern, Eastern Region Consultative Assembly, they sat down to discuss and then mandated Ojukwu to declare a separate nation of Eastern Region. That happened on May 30th. So a lot of things happened in May. You see, let me say this. Probably the tune when people are talking in 2025 about Biafra, particularly those that are Igbo like me, it is not the tune that they used to say it in 1980 or 1970 or even 1990 before June 12th election. Because there was hope that things will heal. There was hope that what Gowon promised, reconstruction, that is physical infrastructure, rehabilitation, that is breathing life into human being. Imagine the way Gaza is now, and you suppose if the war in Gaza stops, there are a lot of refugees. You have to rehabilitate them. And in rehabilitating them, you want to give them back life to make them feel human. So in Nigeria's own case, it was promised. Then reconciliation, because when you reconstruct somebody's environment, we have his house back, infrastructure, schools, hospital, market, they will start functioning. For 3 years, there was no school or university education in Biafra. So when you reconstruct schools, you give them back some measure of social living. Then you now rehabilitate them by saying you open credit lines through the banks for them. You cite industries. The ones that are damaged, you repair them. You are trying to rehabilitate them so that they can get a means of livelihood. Having done that, reconciliation now is natural. It's natural. So they now reconcile. Everybody comes back. But all those things they weren't done. 71, no way. They were having hope. 72, 73, 74. Up to 1975, when they had the third economic development plan, nothing. Then by 80, people were still having hope. Up to 1990, before June 12th, the hope, people were saying, when are we going to be reconstructed and rehabilitated? Nothing. So when you now come in 2015, and then somebody might say, those are military regime. The group that did the coup can always satisfy themselves. Then since 1999, we are still waiting for reconstruction, rehabilitation, and then what is it called? Rehabilitation and then reconciliation. It didn't work. So when in 2025, given these milestones I've outlined, when you see people talking and still talking about a discussion, still talking with the sense of 1971-72, painful. The thing is, I will try as much as possible because I know some of us here, with all due respect, know next to nothing in terms of the volume of literature, consulting so many literature about Biafra. None of us here participated. It's an active participant. I agree. I admit I'm not. None of us knew None of us lived during the time of Julius Caesar, but you know that Julius Caesar lived. None of us lived during the time of Jesus Christ, but you believe as a Christian that Christ visited Egypt when Moses saw the baby crying by the river Nile. It's in the Exodus. We all know this. So what
All
we
right.
should have done was hold on, please. To as much as possible, educate ourselves so that when you come to engage in intellectual discourse, it will be a case of this author said this account I had this, we be exchanging ideas and not to shut down due to ignorance and in fact you pity illiteracy. That what you don't know. I had somebody say, do you know the greatest ignorance somebody will display is to say Ojukwu regretted. Ojukwu never, till he died, Ojukwu never regretted the Civil War. Pa Aya Adebanjo, I challenge anybody. Please Google Pa Aya Adebanjo's tribute. Such things are not hidden. To Odimegwu Ojukwu when he died. Aya Adebanjo, a Yoruba man, said his tribute, that was what made me to start respecting the man. He said, if he is faced with what Ojukwu and the Igbo faced, he will do exactly what Ojukwu did, which means Ayo Adebanjo is not regretting it. This is there his way, so I want somebody to fact check me. If not today, any day, you bring it up. This was what Ayo Adebanjo, Yoruba man, said.
Let's move on. I just want to let you know. Hold on, CM. I want to let you know that I have Ojuku's interview, one of his last interviews, and it's on this. I played it earlier. I can repeat it again because you know there's this argument that once you say anything, they say even Ojuku said that the war was not necessary and it will not happen again. I have his interview where he said, if necessary, he's still ready to lead it again. So I'm not going to hold on.
Please allow me to drop this quotation. No, let me drop Ojuku's quotation before you bring in what you have. Ojuku said, "We do not ask for pity. We make no apologies for the social phenomenon known as Biafran Revolution. We make no apologies for the social phenomenon known as Biafran Revolution. Rather, we proclaim with pride the inevitability of our struggle, the indestructibility of our people, and the assured finality of our success. It's only a compound fool that we say that Ojukwu regretted. An imbecile, an imbecilic bastard, we say that Ojukwu regretted Biafra.
All right,
a man who said this, he died.
We are having. Let's have a very robust discussion. So let's just have it. Let's not let emotion take over. Me too, like I said, I lost a lot of people, uncles, relatives and all that. So, but let us just discuss civilly. Forefather, I see you are a moderator, so please be patient with me so that I don't have to jump these people I've been waiting before you came in. Okay. Yes, Mazi, Richo, go ahead.
Yeah, Daluno Umuchineke. Greetings, my brothers. This is a great opportunity to say this is a Fulani guy. The one that was talking about minorities against Igbo people. That's what they call takia. They are used to that deceitful people, and that is why we have problem in Nigeria.
No, but Mazi, if you talk that way, we will not be able to have a useful. Hold on. I want you to understand something. Even for me, what he was saying didn't go down with me, but it is his view. And the only way we can understand him, hold on, is to listen to his view. And just like he said, bring a superior argument.
KJ, we are here also to debunk him. I'm coming to debunk him.
Good. That's what I'm saying. Let's do it civilly. No
need for insult. That's the point.
Yes. But when I say deceitful is not an insult anyway, but fine, thank you. This guy, as we speak, the minorities in the north are going through hell in the hands of the Fulanese. The minority, as we speak, Plateau is bleeding, Benue is bleeding, Taraba is bleeding, even Zamfara, KB, Niger, everywhere is bleeding. Now he's coming to tell you that the minorities in the eastern region are against Igbo people. What a crap. What a crap. Then we're talking about this is Biafra month. And as an Igbo guy who was born, I was 1 year during the war. I must tell you that the wound, the pain that we Igbo people went through this war, I don't think somebody should not come here and tell us, let's forgive and forget and move on. That's very wrong. Because we have not discussed even what caused the war in Nigeria. Nobody has ever said this is exactly what caused the war and how are we going to live together? No. Everybody is like, oh, forget about it. It's very sensitive. When you talk about it, they will tell you it's very sensitive, forget about it. No, there's no way we can forget about it. Even if we want Nigeria to be one, but we have to discuss our differences. According to Tafawa Balewa, he told the British people, no, we are not one people, but we have to discuss our differences. So we must discuss about what happened during this carnage. And how
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is your southern leaders, your southern politicians, are they willing to discuss our differences?
No, none of them. But excuse me, do you have them?
That's why I'm asking. What is the Nnamdi Kanu's question? That's what is. Do you see any role that Nnamdi Kanu, since coming into the limelight, has been able to activate for the Igbo as a nation?
My brother, look, this Biafra issue was buried. Biafra issue was buried. Everything was buried. Even though when Wasike was doing it, people, because Wasike didn't go far like Nnamdi Kanu. Wasike was like kind of, but it is Nnamdi Kanu that brought this thing to the world, that exposed the evil that was committed in the name of Biafra. Okay. So Nnamdi Kanu, for me, he's the person that even made people to know that there was even a civil war. Do you know one thing? Let me tell you. Let me give you a personal experience. Here in Germany, when I came to Germany newly, I met a lady, a German lady, and he asked me, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Nigeria." And then we start interacting. She said, "Oh, there was a terrible war in the 60s in Nigeria." I said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." She asked me, "Were you born there?" I said, "I was born maybe a year before the war." She was telling me that they call them Biafra Kinder. Kinder means children. Biafra children. They were kind of donating money, donating wares and everything, sending to Africa. So when I told her that I came from that region, she was like, "Wow!" So some people, in fact, this one told me. So some people survived the genocide. I said, "Yes." Some people survived. She told me that what they were seeing there was like everybody, because it was a terrible. Pictures everywhere. So
okay. Thank you. So sorry, I'm going to cut you, but I'll come back to you. We will try and see if we can have. For those you were too young, you are just about one. Those people who are 5, who were 4, who were 10, who were 20, we'll try and have a program where they will tell their own personal stories. It's not going to be anything like we are. No, they will tell what they experience and what the situation is. Because listening to you now, I know that there are many stories. I have many stories that I was told, but I'm not I'm just a second-hand informant, not the first. So those who have a first-hand view or information will tell us that. And I thank you for that contribution, because that this brought out the reason why we should meet and talk about that. Because the more we talk about it, the more these things are let out, and then the more we can find peace and closure. Right.
KJ, please let me just say just a minute. Today, this evening, I was listening to Voice of the People, a radio in Lagos. You're one of the contributors.
I listened to it, hosted by the lady, yeah.
Esther, you listen to it about what Yorubas. It was about this Professor Akintoye, right? Banja Akintoye. The two gays that were on that radio station, proudly saying that they don't want this country, it's not working for them, they want to opt. Even the Esther was shocked that this prominent two Yoruba guests told her that they don't want this thing, it's not working for them. So assuming that Professor Akinto is a Yoruba man, an Igbo man, this man would have been arrested, because this man has been going to America, to England, campaigning for the Oduduwa Republic, and nobody's arresting him. Imagine if Professor Wana of Igbo Foundation, Igbo Foundation, imagine if he's campaigning for the Igbo nation today. That man will be rotting in this dungeon.
Okay.
This is a remark. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mazi Iko.
Good evening, good morning, everyone from here.
Sorry, let's hear the name. How do you pronounce it? Is it
Mazi ICO?
Okay, ICO. Okay, I thought it's Iko. All right, welcome.
I bring it together. That's why. Good morning from here where I'm residing, and good morning from every one of us we're residing to. I don't know your time zone. I just want to say a few words here, and before I will leave, I've just only play one voice note to summarize what I'm going to say here. So in essence, I want to go back to what my brother here said before, because I was here listening to this program a long time before I could be able to request to come in. A righteous man says something that touches me, about the way they maltreat a certain set of people in Nigeria, which is the Igbo people. A country that's supposed to be for each and every one of us to enjoy. After the war, like what CM said here, there is a triple R: reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Nothing has been done since 6-something years up to today. We are still here today. I want to make one reference and one objection from, I think Oti said something about Nigeria is a nation. Nigeria is never a nation. Nigeria is a British business. It's a British intention.
A nation in the making, perhaps.
Pardon?
A nation in the making, perhaps.
Oh, okay. So that's the way I'm bringing this. So what I want to tell all of us here is today that till today, the civil war is still ongoing. The Biafra war has not ended. Whether you believe it or you leave it, Biafran war is still going on.
It's ongoing. Yeah, I agree.
Still today is still going on. For those that have the inner, like that spiritual eye, will understand that there is still war in Nigeria today. And which people are they bringing this war to? The Southeasterners. How is it in a country where you cannot be able to express yourself, your feelings, say what bothers you as part of the country you are? You cannot be able to voice out how it pains you. Just like what the last speaker just spoke, Mazi Rico, that from the Akintola or thereabouts speaks in the radio station today. If it were an Igbo man, what will have happened? Arrest comes immediately. So what is that thing that the Igbo man do in Nigeria that warrant them to be treating this way? Whereas we are the people that wants Nigeria to work out. We are the people that wants Nigeria to work in all ramification. If he talks about love, if he talks about unification, Igbo men are the people, Igbo men are the people, are the tribe in Nigeria that wants that unity to work. But the Nigeria itself is not working because it's not the same language, it's not the same culture, it's not the same religion, it's not gonna work. So till today, we are still finding it very difficult for the Nigerians to work out, but it's not working for you and I. This is one of the reasons why most of our youths, we are traveling out of the country, especially the Southeasterners, to where we can be able to survive for the sake of our family.
All right.
So this is what the country has putting us into. Just before I conclude now, I just want to play a voice that I borrowed from our former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, when he spoke in Emmanuel Iwanyan's 18th birthday. Please, I want us to just listen to it, please.
For Nigeria's unity, these are things that agitate my mind. I started thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this would help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Ahmadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country, but the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is was said by Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the former Prime Minister. The fourth and the last, let me not bore you. And I quote, each of our three regions is vastly different in many respects, but each has this in common, that despite variety of languages and custom, or differences in climate, all form part of one country which has existed as a political and social entity for 50 years. That is why we believe that the political union of Nigeria is destined to be perpetual and indestructible. This is accredited to Dr. Nnamdi Kanu, former president of Nigeria.
So now, if these four founding fathers can say this, what are we here trying to elaborate more? The need is here. The question and the answer is here already. We have the question and we have the answer. Just let us go. This is one of the biggest reason Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is agitating for Biafra to come, because he has already given the federal government and the southeastern governors, bring them together to step.
My friend, it's not as simple as that, okay?
Okay,
it's
all
not
right.
as simple as that.
No. Hold on.
I've said my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, that's your
Thank
mind,
you
but it's
so
not as
much.
simple as that. Let's be realistic.
Hey, come on, man. Thank you so much for your contribution. We really appreciate it. And please, still do come. Don't switch off. Now we come to our host, one of our major hosts. Yes, forefather. Can we have your take before I come to the hard knot? Yes, forefather, your take, sir.
Yeah, greetings, KJ, and thank you for having me here and hosting the show. It's a special conversation. And greetings to the panelists and to the chat too, and the viewers especially. This issue is an issue that is quite emotive. A lot of people feel strongly about it. And I am kind of somewhat, I don't know how to describe it, a little bit, I don't know how to put it, but I feel like we have quite a lot of problems to deal with. And I'm finding it a little bit impatient when we discuss some of all these things repeatedly. It's not like we don't discuss it, we discuss it almost every single week. And it's the past. And I feel like if we don't start focusing on the bigger issues that are in front of us, there could be serious consequences for us. Because while we are looking at the past, the future is happening and it's not waiting for you. And the rest of the world is moving on. Just today, I got the figures from the casualties between Russia and Iran, this in Ukraine. And estimates suggest that Russia has lost 1 million men and Ukraine has lost 670,000. But tomorrow, they're going to have a conversation and they're going to move on. But we're having this conversation every Sunday, repeatedly, on and on and on and on. I don't know what it is. And I know these things are quite tragic events. Like we see every day, it's happening in different parts of the world. You see it in Gaza right now. And I guess I'm trying to find out whether there is a point where people that engage in this will say, okay, yes, we can do this now, but let's now focus on actually putting things forward. Yeah, we know this issue is there. When the time is right, we are going to deal with it, but let's keep an eye on the bigger picture that could come and eat us again. Because we do have problems, big ones. Our president is looking to go and borrow $23 billion where they don't tell you what they are going to do exactly with it. They are governing our country into the ground. And make no mistake, it's not only the north, it's not only the east, not only the south. Everybody in Nigeria, they are in cahoots. And Nigeria is one of those unique countries where it seems almost as if it's remarkable, really, how we did it. Because other countries are a little bit quite lopsided, where you see one tribe dominate everybody. But Nigeria, everybody, when they tell you that one tribe is dominating the other, it's just like, but it's not as clear cut because almost everybody is involved. Every group is involved in what is keeping Nigeria. Is it Asakwabio from the north? Not from the north. Omahi, is he from the north? Uzodema, is he from the north? He's not. So we have Tinubu is not from the north. And is he not packing his Lagos boys into Asorok? So I know some of all this, Nigeria is quite. The other day, the military is complaining that the Southeast is not getting involved in the military because Nigerian people like our forebears, like Nnamdi Kanu and the others that came after him, decided that they are going to put inside the constitution that everybody has to be represented in this country. And I think it's the right thing to do. But yet, when we have this conversation, we make it look like not everybody is represented in the country. I don't know why we believe that not everybody is represented, because Nigeria makes far more effort to try to represent everybody. Where the problem is coming from is that we are being misgoverned by the people that are at the top right now. They are not governing us well. If we keep talking about tribalism, you are falling into their trap because then you don't call them out for the mess that they are making. You don't deal with the real issues that are facing us today, and the ones that are coming in the future that are probably even greater. And those ones, your children are going to have to enjoy it. And the more you take your eyes off them, you're giving your children a lot more load to carry. The mistakes of people cost. You see this image that I'm playing now? People made mistakes to create that event. If they didn't make those mistakes, that picture you are showing just now wouldn't exist at all. Somebody made mistakes that created that. And if we make more of those mistakes, we are going to create more of that for our children. Sooner or later, we have to live for the future, not only living for the past. Because the children that we are having, they are not going to ungrow. You are not going to unbond them. They are already in the world. You have to make preparations for them. If you focus on yourself alone, that is selfishness. Because you are worrying about your own feelings. When your children, you are laying. Because look at what our parents left for us. Was it not somebody that made the mistake that you are shaking your head for now? Was it you? You were not there. You were not there. Were you part of Agui Rose's government or Ojuku's government? You were not. But yet you are shaking your head because of their mistakes. So you can shake your head all you want. You may not like it, but the point is that the facts of life is staring you in the face. And if you run away from it, and I really hope some people will run away from it, that's the truth. But the ones that won't are the ones that are going to chart the future. Because sooner or later, somebody has to build the future. If others want to complain about the past, they can complain about the past. If you want to say you are marginalized, you can complain all you want. All I see in Nigeria is that everybody's at it. Everybody's stealing. Everybody's immoral. Everybody, they lie. Nigerians lie. They pretend as if they care about their own. They just want their own. The moment their person gets into that office, they will forget about all his sins, and they will, even if their person is doing something wrong, they will cover for that person. This is what we do. Let's face it. That's what we do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I wanted to give you, but I want to ask a question, but I see that there are a lot of people waiting behind and all that. So I will leave that. I'll come back to you because there are so many things you raised, which I would have loved to ask you. For instance, let me not run away. Let me ask you. So in this case now, with the current things going on in Igbo land and with the Igbos, will you say that it is the Igbos that are also doing themselves that same harm?
Yeah, Igbo people are involved. You see,
in which way? I'm coming, sir. In which way? For instance, if you followed, I don't want to bring Nnamdi Kanu this early in this discussion, but if you followed Nnamdi Kanu's discussion, this is a court case, for instance, for today. Did you notice that he has been in the dungeon for over 1 year with only having 1 hour of light a day? Is there any other person that happened to 1 hour, one hour of light under 24 hours has 1 hour? And that is even because he wrote what they said he should write. If not, they're going to reduce it to 30 minutes. And you know what that can do to somebody's psychology?
Yeah, that's not nice now. I don't know whether that's probably abuse of
their
rights.
Okay. For that, I'm sure you didn't join on time. Let me play this video so that we can all come back to it. Because I want you to also, when you are putting these things and saying these things, let's not look as if the Igbos just like trouble. Let us listen. And of course, after that, I'll come up with something. Let us listen to this man.
Southeast even have lion's share in any particular project. Mr. President, if this is an omission, it is an expensive omission. The Southeast cannot continually to be treated the way Nigeria is treating the Southeast. Let me give you an instance. Out of the dams that were listed here on the Southeast, Ivo Dam was last funded about 12 years ago with a 5 billion naira spent on it, and it has been abandoned by Nigeria for the last 12 years. I had written 3 letters to the Ministry of Water Resources. We have done everything possible to see if they can bring up Ivo Dam. And here, a zone is allocated 66 billion, and the entire South is at 0 What kind of omission is that?
Mr. President, I think we should be very mindful of commenting on the infrastructure renewed of projects, because we should see it holistically. This is just a segment of the renewed hope agenda on the infrastructure. We have a road infrastructure, we have power infrastructure, we have other, let me learn, please.
Okay, for that, I just played that to let you know that this same house had initially denied the Southeast also. About 3 months ago, of the same infrastructural development. The road he talked about, there's none in the Southeast. Now, some years ago, just years back, the railway was denied the East. The railway was denied the East. Now, let us even push back a little bit, because you are talking about whether we the Igbos are making efforts, even as leadership.
Railway
Remember
was
that
not denied in the
I'm
East.
coming.
So
Hold
don't
on,
just
hold
say
on.
one and add another one on top of it. Railway
No,
was
I'm
not
just
denied in the East.
letting you know those things have been piling up. No, hold on.
But there is railway in the East.
Hold on.
Okay.
Before
KJ, please, KJ, please allow forefathers to go. Let's continue our discussion, because
okay.
this is about.
Okay.
Please,
Listen,
this is about Biafra Day. This is our
no
emotion.
problem.
This
It
is
is the
no,
same thing.
allow him to go. Allow him to go.
You have to control your emotions, all right?
Allow him to go.
No, but you have to control your emotions. You can have a
Forefather
conversation.
is anti-Igbo. Forefather is anti-Igbo. Allow him to go.
Come on.
We still have to deal with
I know very well, of course. I know. I don't know why he's here. I don't know why he's here.
Do you want me to put you backstage? Please. Now, listen to me, forefather. You know, before Nnamdi Kanu came on, when the agitation started earlier, and I said to you as a journalist, I covered most of those things. He was asked, because that time the federal government said, we don't know what the Igbos want. Okay? The 5 Eastern governors had meeting with Nnamdi Kanu, for which he came out and said exactly what he said in the meeting. He said, our agitation will go away if you give us seaport. He didn't say Igbo land should have a seaport. It is your Port Harcourt. He said the seaport in Port Harcourt should be reactivated. The one in Cross River should be reactivated. The one in Akwa Ibom should be activated. He said international airport should be provided. And roads, infrastructure done in the East, just like it's done in other places. And then he will stop agitation. But till today, has anybody ever done that? The seaport is asking for, not for Igbo land. It's not in the East. It's for those states. So when we just gather this and say maybe these people are just being, let us be realistic and also listen to what is going on. Let us be realistic. Now, I don't want to go far, because that'll be taking me away from.
You don't need this explanation to this guy. You don't need explanation to this guy. You don't need explanation.
KJ, please listen.
You don't need explanation to forefathers. What are we talking about here?
No. When we come out, excuse me, KJ,
you don't need explanation for forefathers and this polo. You don't need them here.
KJ, listen.
All right, go ahead.
KJ, listen. KJ, listen.
2 minutes, CM. 2 minutes.
You put up a show and circulated the flyers, indicated the topic, because today is May 28th. In 48 hours' time, it becomes an anniversary of Declaration of Biafra.
So what was he doing here?
Hold on. Yesterday, 27th, was the provocation, because they created 12 states. So when we are discussing the issue today, we are not doing it to please anybody. Some people can come the day, maybe next week when we start discussing Nigeria. We bring in issues about Nigeria. For context, in 1896, the British established a railway from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, from Lagos to Ekaranamoda, or somewhere. Why is it that old railway in Lagos to Ibadan was changed up to Kaduna, Abuja, even to Niger Republic? The one in the east is still like that. When you talk, somebody will tell you east has railway. What nonsense are we talking about? Listen,
I
the issue
rode on
is
the railway myself, so
the
I know.
issue. The issue
Remove
is this.
forefathers from
That
here.
is
Remove him here.
What are you telling me? I'm just telling my own truth. I
listen,
rode on the rail
listen,
myself.
Away from there.
So you can't
Okay,
tell me I didn't hear it
gentlemen,
from anybody else.
KJ, listen. Listen, KJ, this is not how to handle this. I gave a context. 1896, the same railway that was established in the East was established in the West. Why did they find it easy, better, justified, and convincing to modernize the one from Lagos to Kanu, up till taking a brand new rail to Niger Republic? Why the one from Port Harcourt to Aba, somebody is saying is taking? This is 1896 rail. If what is good for the geese is not good for the gander, why are we here? But that is by the way. So because you see, the thing is that
okay,
when
all right.
people
Thank
you
you,
see
thank you.
when somebody want
Hold
to be
on now.
clever, when somebody
For
want to, because some of these things, please let
CM,
us face Biafra issue. If
CM,
Biafra is
calm
not for
down.
That's what I'm
everybody,
talking about. This is
Calm
if you
down.
don't,
I
it's
will,
not for
It
everybody.
forget that I'm
This
from
is
that
Biafra
area
issue.
too.
listen,
It's
If
not
you
just
don't
that
want,
that area is
if you
underdeveloped.
don't
I'm
want,
from
if
that
you,
region
please,
too.
CM.
this is the
Oh,
issue.
if you're not going to allow me to talk, I will just take all of you out. I have enough video. You see, whatever anybody is discussing here, we'll have a video and I can give you the link. So you can go and watch documentaries done by other people, independent people, Nigerians. There's even a film shot on the last of Ifajina, okay? Which I think is a bit exaggeration, but the guy said it is fiction. He just used those names. So I pardon him for that. Okay, but we have enough information. You will have enough books for anybody who want to know the truth. You see what we are taught in documentary production is that when you take the book of somebody who is writing from a perspective that you do not agree with, you read it. You also go back and read from the person who you agree with, and then you just oppose both. You discuss this part, you discuss this part, then you will now bring your conclusion at the end of your documentary that this is what you feel so far. You may be wrong, because even at that, it is still from your own biases. You may be wrong. So if you come into discussion with that kind of mind, you will be able to learn from other people and go and do your further research. That is why they have further research. Research no get end. But having said that, Righteous Man was the first person who came here. I had been very patient. So let's give him an opportunity. And I will say also that I may have to take. So if you want, I can take some people. There are about 2-3 people waiting out behind. Stay Humble has gone away because he got tired of waiting. Dockstar is behind. Information Warfare is behind, aka Ovie. So we have enough people who can give us a robust discussion. Let's not end this thing by quarreling. Okay? Polo is also raising his hand. You hold on, I'll get to everybody. But Righteous Man, go ahead.
Yeah, one more time, good evening to those who just joined. KJ, there is something I think we should correct. I don't think that those Nigerians that are being referred to as the founding fathers, in the actual sense, they are not the founding fathers of Nigeria. In 1914, history has it that Nnamdi Azikiwe was born, I think 1909 or 1904. So, pretty 1914, he should be about 9 years or 10 years old. So, and Nigeria was founded. So, when we refer to Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Sardauna Sokoto as the founding fathers, I think we are making it's a bad precedent we are setting. They fought for independence.
Independent Nigeria.
Hold on.
Correct.
They fought for independence of Nigeria. Does not make them the founding fathers. They never founded any nation or country called Nigeria.
Wow.
They only asked for. Hold on, now. It is my turn. Can you allow me? They only requested for self-governance of what Britain has created as Nigeria. That's true. So, what I want to say is this. My father's properties were seized in Rivers State. I was born there. All my siblings were born there. We were never born in Imo State, were born in Rivers State. My father and my mother spent their life, their money, everything. They were part of those who developed Rivers State, Port Harcourt. They owned properties, owned timber markets. They lost everything after the war. My father went back to those things he owned, he built, he suffered for. Other people have taken it. Now, as the children, you think that I will be happy that what my father labored for, somebody took it over, because let's assume two brothers had a quarrel. The Easterners and the rest of Nigeria had a quarrel. At the end of the day, they say no victor, no vanquish. Okay, since there is no victor, no vanquish, let me go back and take what belongs to me. You said, no, I can't take it. It's abandoned property. In one country, in one nation, then those who have savings in the bank worth of millions, you now gave them 20 pounds that they should forfeit the other ones. It now belongs to the government of Nigeria. And you want us to be one? Come on now, come on. And you say that I should not remember this thing, I should not tell the stories to my children, or I shouldn't feel the pains. We are 11 in number, 7 was lost during the war. And you are telling me that today I should not remember them, I should not talk about it. What led to that war? Has it been sorted out? I quite agree with what Blackstone said, that we should forgive and let it be. Nigeria is not the first country that fought war. But the truth is that what led to that war, it has multiplied more than ever before. Okay. At least America fought civil war, and today they are still together. Are you telling me that people whose property were in the south or the east of America, I don't know how they divided it that time, that they lost their properties after the war, they couldn't reclaim it, they say it's abandoned property? I mean, I think the political elite of Nigeria, those who are leading this country, they are not ready for reintegration. They are not ready to make sure that this country works as a nation. They are not ready.
Thank you. I want you to stop there, because that is actually the crux of the matter. Are we ready to move as a nation, or is it that we're just playing to the gallery? I see you, Polo, but Hard Knock has not spoken since he came in. So please, you have the floor. No, you are muted. I can't unmute you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you, moderator. Okay, so I mean, before I start, I'm Igbo by ethnic group. So, the Nigerian situation, I think, I summarize it as I think we've addressed it with a lot of dishonesty, hypocrisy, and cowardice, at different stages. So the thing is, there's always a truth. Then how you choose to interpret it or address it or view it, is another thing. So the truth about Nigeria, that as someone has already pointed out, that it was formed by Britain, and even pre 1914, they were already here in the 19th century, 1800s, dealing with the different tribes, studying our nature, religious, cultural, and everything, and then thinking maybe 1,000 years ahead of how to profit from this area. Now we, as Black people, we are doing our own thing. So there is a marshaled out plan on how to take advantage of this enterprise, which is what it is for them. But the problem now is that at each stage, when they bring in something, okay, amalgamation, we all adapt and change. Now, the problems we all have at different times is different, but we all think that our problems are the same. Then when it gets to independence, the whole thing is now different again. We all think that our problems are the same, but it's different. Let me give an example. For instance, at 1960, the problem with the Northerners were not happy that you had this influx of Southerners who were mostly Igbos, and who were, a lot of Igbos who were merchants, educated people who were taking, they were able to handle many of the jobs because they were educated and embraced Christianity. The Northerners didn't, because of just the way things were all up north, they weren't educated in the Western style. But they were not happy that you had this foreign invading people coming into their space. So they had a different problem. We had our own problem is, you know, being independence and all that. Their own is these people are coming into our space. Now, Zeke, Amadu Bello, and Awo, you can see clearly from all the things they said that this whole thing was, you know, a setup for high combustible outcome. Why did they go ahead to sign all those things and do this? I don't know. They were thinking that when they get rid of the owners of this thing, that they can get the house together, which is not true. The person that owns it. You're going to really need to fight to take over that thing, because this is his source of livelihood from generation to generation. That's what Nigeria is. So when we are agree, then each group can start looking at what is their own problem. So me as an Igbo, I can itemize my problem. The Northerners can itemize their own problem. The Westerners, because what it is in Nigeria is that everybody's looking out for himself, but pretending to be one Nigeria. One Nigeria is just, you know, it's my rhetoric. When it comes to actions, you can see it clearly. If you ask me, I think the people who have paid most by blood and life from figures are the Igbos. We've lost people, numbers. Yeah, anybody you pick now here, you can see the emotions. Me, I lost my uncles. I'm quite young. I was born, in 1980 something. But I lost my uncle. My dad fought. He lost his classmate. But I want to let me just add this before I leave. After the war, Nigeria has still, my dad who survived the war, some of his classmates died. He went to school, became an engineer. And in 1990, he was working in a Jakarta Steel Company. They sent one Katinumoru. One of the other ethnic groups, they said how these Igbos are dominating here and all that. And they came in, and in one night, they retrenched almost 90% of the Igbo engineers in that steel company. This is a Jakarta Steel Company you're seeing. My father was one of the pioneer engineers there. Without pension, nothing. They let all of them go. Some of them, they retrenched man and wife. And this thing now impacted their families moving forward. It impacted my family because now my father had to start hopping around from one private job until he died. Fast forward to my own generation. When we graduate from university, no job. You go to Abuja, they check, what state are you from? They say, oh, your whole slot is taken up. There's no space for you. The next thing, you want to leave, go out of Nigeria. So, me as an Igbo person, I'm just honest with what the problem is. Because of circumstances and so many things, we are not even safe within the Nigerian space. Forget about how other people feel about you or uniting and all that. We are just not even safe. We are lucky that the confines of the world did not end along the Nigerian boundary. That is why we are still surviving.
Exactly.
Because we are able to live and pursue, life, success elsewhere.
Thank you.
Within the Nigerian space, it's survival. That's what the conversation should be. So Igbos, we should look at what the matter really is. So that's what I would just say. So this conversation of yeah.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your patience. What you have said is very, very, very important. We are surviving because we refuse to accept the geographical location called Nigeria as the ultimate, and so we'll go to North Pole, South Pole, Iceland to pursue our legitimate living.
Sorry.
I don't know who wants to take a turn so that I can put you behind for a while and get Obie and Dexter in. Anybody
I can leave. But KJ,
okay,
can you ask
so
her
make
not
your comment and then we
yes, can you ask her not what the solution is? I'm interested in listening to people's ideas. I think we seem to agree on what, at least generally speaking, what the problems, where the root of the problem lies.
Okay, yeah.
What the solution should be? Please, have
yes.
not. What the solution should be? You see. I'm glad. Hold on, had not. Please, let me give you my solution. I'm glad.
Look, let me provide my own solution before you say that. At this point, with everything I've seen, balkanization is the only solution. This thing we are trying to do, restructure all those things. No, we've already shown that we are dishonest, hypocritical, and cowards mostly. So once something has nothing to do with your tribe, we don't really care. Okay, check it. Even in the diaspora, how many groups are really Nigerian groups that you can say, okay, this is it? Most people form groups according to their either their tribe or one thing. So we are being hypocrites, big time hypocrites, dishonest, and it's not working. It's not working. You want 1,000 years, and so with more time you give, then our fortress to protect ourselves from maybe outside invaders is weakened the more. I mean, as even the whole Nigerian space, because this our malady and chaos. Other people outside want to even push you away and take away the whole land. So we need to move separate so that we can actually protect ourselves, because staying together, we are making ourselves vulnerable. That's as
we consider that we were separate once.
Sorry, excuse me.
Genius. Were you not separate once when they took over and they came and colonized you?
Don't you think that restructuring can lead to what we call balkanization?
Why is it that we are isolating Polo? Is it under
no, Polo should go away from here, my friend.
I don't understand what you mean by that question.
Because I wanted to.
I have a question for you.
Please, just what had no. Hold on. Before you ask Hadnot, Hadnot is not here to be cross-examined. Let me ask your own. Let me answer your own. No, you are not the. See, listen now. You are not here. It's not a two-way thing. It's not just between two of you. If it were KJ, that is the host. So the answer to in addition to that, you see, the thing is this. Sometimes I say I'm happy the situation the developing Nigeria has come today. The man in charge, the president of Nigeria, the CNC is a Yoruba man. Yet Professor Banji Akintoye, a Yoruba, is still saying that the Yorubas is not working for them. If it didn't work for them, is it Igbo man it work for? Or will it work for Fulani man now? Or will it work for Hausa man? This is what we should be thinking. Before, if it were in those days, they say Yoruba is in charge. Therefore, excuse me. No. What I'm saying is that a Yoruba man is in charge, and a leading Yoruba professor, Banji Akintoye, a man who wrote the history of Yoruba people, is saying that it's not working for them. They want out. What does that tell you?
It's not ethno-nationalist. And
no. You are getting it wrong. Forefathers, you are getting it wrong. Forefathers, you are living in denial. Forefathers, you are living in denial. You are living in denial. Forefathers.
Hold on, guys. If you guys decide to make it rowdy, I will cut off the session and cut it off totally. Please, let's have a civil discussion. I don't want throwing, because when you throw certain things and people are talking, you derail them and they'll talk more. So allow them to land, and if you have any follow-up, I'll give you an opportunity to do that. Okay? Oti, you wanted to tell me that you can ask your question or make your contribution and then
because I like to listen to people, novel ideas. Okay, it's not listen to some people all the time. And it's had not here. It says something quite
I agree with this.
So I wanted to pursue it further. That's why I asked him what the solution is, and he said balkanization. And my follow-up question is this: I'm just telling him that what people call restructuring can actually lead to balkanization. They're not saying different things, because restructuring, it depends. To what extent? I would mean. So restructuring is something that is generic. It can be anything, right? So it does not exclude balkanization, if you like. And it's the same thing that CM is saying. So in effect, we're saying the same thing. So if we at least attempt to listen to each other, we find out that we are on the same saying the same thing. It's just a matter of how do we go from from 1 to 2. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Can I now? Are you going to? You are agreeing to be backstage? So for
yeah, that's fine. That's fine by me. I don't need to speak.
That's volunteering. Thank you. Please don't go away. We want your views.
KJ, at least, please, 10 seconds. I know when people say something, they say it's the opinion, they're entitled to it. Today in UK is Wednesday. It's Wednesday. You cannot tell me today is Monday and tell me it's your opinion. I will challenge it. There's different thing. You cannot tell me that today is Monday in UK and you tell me it's your opinion. I will challenge it. So some people cannot just come here and come and spew pure, pathetic falsehood, and they feel that it is the opinion. Somebody will take you up on it.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree with that. Please do take the people up when you have your time, so we can have a very robust discussion. Thank you. Thank you, Oti, for volunteering for some time out. We have Duckstar come and the Ovie, aka New Information Welfare. Duckstar, you've been following for a long time. You've been behind both yourself and Ovie, and I appreciate that. Please, can you now give us your own idea of what we have been discussing, in the next 3 minutes?
Yeah, thank you, KJ. Yeah, thank you for the discussion, KJ. What's interesting is today I was listening to the news. I think for the first time, Germany have admitted to genocide that they carried out in Namibia back, I think, in the 18th century. What I find very interesting is that we Africans, we don't seem to want to take responsibility for our actions, and that's the reason why Nigeria is the way it is. See, Nigeria would have moved forward as a country after the Civil War. But unfortunately, Nigeria decided to live in a lie. The country, the leaders decided not to take actions, did not decide to accept their actions that were wrong, that led to the Civil War. And they now spewed the lies to generations that just believe that lie. And unfortunately, the thing about lies is that it just keeps on piling up and it won't work. That's the reason why Nigeria is not working. Look, Nigeria as a country would have survived if, one, after the Civil War, the perpetrators actually came together and said, please, we are sorry, we have done wrong, and they make a conscious effort to do what is right. But what did they do? The moment after the Civil War, the first thing they did was that after the whole shenanigans, divide it into why states are not working, because the creation of states was not even the people's choice. Example, when Nigeria was divided into regions, it was the people's choice. Awolowo, Zik, Enahoro, Ahmadu Bello, all of them came and they said this is when the British were arranging this is how we want it. And they agreed that there will be Midwestern region. So they were so I think it's in Nixon's report. And all those things were there. That was the people, it was out of consultation. But now the states you have today in Nigeria is not out of any consultation. It is a balkanization of the whole thing, and that's why there's there's nothing uniting the system. What unites Nigeria is corruption and oil. Whether we like it or not, that is the truth. Everybody is united because of the corruption and the oil. How to take the resources. That is what is uniting Nigeria. The leaders there is 90% of the leaders there is the resources. They want to, and how you get to know this, just influence size, just say, okay, let the states be, but let the states own their resources. Nigeria will still go, it will go up in flames. Look at the tax reform bill. Just the small tax reform bill. Everyone will go up in flames. So it shows that the country is, and the bad thing is that when you don't realize that you are failing and you are reinforcing your failure, then there's no hope for you. The nations of the world that have worked, what keeps them working is fairness and justice. There's no justice in Nigeria. There's no fairness in Nigeria. There's no equity. Nigeria is for the people that conquered. That is how it is. And so when the idea of this whole thing, example, the Biafra War was more like a genocide. The Nigerian government cannot come and admit, look, even Rwanda that is making progress, they had to admit that there is nothing to show. There's no monument of apology. Look at the massacre in Asaba. No, there's nothing. Nobody is taking risk. And then the people still want that. You have some people that are still believing that the thing will work. I mean, how can you be running? Like they say, if you are going in the wrong direction somewhere, no matter if you say, because I have gone very far, let me continue going. You will not get to, you will keep on going down the pit. You must realize, I have to stop here and turn back.
Thank you. Let me come in. You see, what you said is the last thing you said. I'm going to just pick it up and elaborate on it. So if you leave Lagos and you want to go to Calabar and you face Sokoto Road and you keep going, but you have gone far because you got to Niger. Let me just keep going. I'll get there. I don't know how you're going to make it to Calabar because you are totally in the different direction. And that's why those people who, if you read a little bit of geography, you find out that when a ship misses by just 0.00 nautical mile, you miss. If you are going to Australia, you may probably end up somewhere else you never ever imagined. And that is how this, well, that's just exactly what he's driving at. But I am, Paulo, please be patient with me. I want to let those who have not spoken to speak. I'll come back to you. I see your hand. Yeah, Ovie, please go ahead and make your contribution. You have 3 minutes, sir.
So, I mean, I think I started listening from Tunanja when Tunanja started. I believe he must have shifted the conversation. So, what was so that I will not go out of point? Where
What we are discussing, actually, True Niger took us far from what we were discussing. What we are discussing was our topic here, which is the ghost of Biafra and the Nnamdi Kanu's question. What is it really? Are we building a nation? Are we sincere with ourselves? What can make all of us sit down on a table and tell each other the plain truth? I'll give you an example. If you have an issue with your wife, when you sit down on the discussion, you don't begin to lie to each other. You look at yourself and say, this is this. But if you look at the Nigeria, political scene, you find out that so much is hidden and so much is not true. How now do we reverse ourselves to a point? Or should we simply say, Oduduwa, go. Biafra, go. Middle belt, go. North, go. Where is the center that will hold? Because that we seem to see that the center is not holding.
Nigeria, I don't think we will hold. And I think I want to agree with the guy that said that balkanization is going to be the answer. I kind of agree with him because at no point that the territory that we have in Nigeria today agreed that they want to live together. We should understand that what we have today is a gift. And whoever is giving you something, it's only him or her know why he's giving you that gift. That's why we are in this condition today. The so-called founding fathers, they did not fight for any country. They negotiated. Nigeria was already conquered. Those who fought were conquered, were defeated before this crop of generation were born. We seem to forget that even before the amalgamation of 1914, the Arabs were already in the midst of us. Via since 800, in back to the 8th centuries, where they came through via trades, and so they already have an ideology is already settled down there before the conquest that follows due to the conquest of the Ottoman Empire. So that ideology is still very much alive, whether we like it or not. The idea of the ideology is to conquer everywhere. So before the Christian capitalists arrive, that ideology is already in full manifestation. They could not conquer them. That's why they have to force to amalgamate us. One could argue that there was no time, because people are talking about the coming together of the European in Berlin in 1845. What people don't get that 1845 there was nothing like Germany. It wasn't a country yet. So when they descend on Africa, they share them within themselves between that 1914 to another 50 years, which led to the Second World War. So there was no time for the British to actually want to do whatever they want. So the American has to force them to give us what we want, what will be convenient for them to take over the resources, because the idea of conquer is not about resources. Nobody wants to conquer us because you are too cute or too handsome. No, it's because you are sitting on the resources.
Question for you, Ovie. Why can't our leaders, people from ethnic, different ethnic groups, sit down and have a conversation, and that conversation be implemented? And I'm not saying this only for the Igbos.
They are having.
If we are truly interested in nationhood, why can't there be a conference of ethnic nationalities. Agatuman, what do you want? Igedeman, what do you want?
AJ, that has
Why?
been tried. The Sovereign National
That's
Conference has been tried.
that's not even the point. That's not even the
Yeah,
answer.
the implementation. That's what I'm saying. Those conferences that came out, why wasn't it implemented?
Okay, was it from some who was ruling the nationals at that time? Is he from Biafra region? Yes, he is. Why has he dumped the recommendation? He's the president. Why is he dumped the?
Our
I mean,
problem is not about sitting together.
Wait.
Hold on, Ovie, hold on. I'll give you time to answer. Let
Something
him
is
talk.
developing.
Hold on,
Something is
hold on, Ovie,
developing
hold
now.
on.
Something is
No.
developing. So
CM, hold
Jonathan.
on.
So
Hold
Jonathan
on.
now is a
Hold
Biafran.
on, CM.
Idoman is a Biafran now.
Allow him to speak.
Oh
Please.
God, these
Okay.
people are just rap and down. And this other hammer.
Okay, Polo, go ahead.
okay, just imagine that Nigeria is this forum, and we are the people that constitute Nigeria. How can we be talking like this amongst ourselves and then expect to have a better outcome? How? Why do
Because
you?
there was nothing like us. We never agreed to sit down together. There's nothing like us. We need to get. We need
Ovie,
to
I
take. We
say
need to.
I'll give you time. Ovie, hold on. I'll give you time. Hold on, please. Take it
Spoiler
easy.
alert! Spoiler alert! It is there. It is here. Whether I like it or not, whether I agree with it or not, it is already there. So now you have to fight for how to get it right. And then if you say Nigeria is going to be disintegrated amongst all the tribes that want to have independence, how many parts can we dissect the country? How many tribes do you think? Okay, we have this commonality, therefore we want to be part of you. How do you come to that point? How do we arrive at that? Maybe Nigeria will be split into six, like the former geopolitical zones. Again, further, it may even start reintegrating again. Look at what do you call it? How long has Wales been suffering under the British? They are still under Great Britain. They don't have to negotiate for something better at every given opportunity. So, if you are using the 1999 Constitution, I believe you must see who presided over the coming up with the 1999 Constitution. Was it not an Igbo guy, Okadibo? Was he not the guy?
Huh?
He has the opportunity. Okay, wait. Even if he's not Igbo, Igbos have their own senators, have everything. They can lay down their complaints and then it can be discussed in the National Assembly. But if this is how you guys can behave in the National Assembly, you cannot just obey a simple rule. Keep quiet, wait for your time to finish, then come in. You cannot maintain that.
Oh, come on. This guy
How
is
do you
just
expect to have a
come
sane
on.
conversation? This is not my opinion. This is okay. I said my opinion. Now let's forget about opinion. If we keep looking backward and we are not willing to sit and negotiate and understand, and everybody accept where he is wrong, then we should forge ahead as a nation. But if we keep on throwing blames and then looking back, we can never get to the future that we want. We will only amplify the division that is already there. Yes, history is relevant, but a lot of somebody said America, yeah, they had their own civil war. They came together. Now they are there. Red state, blue state, whatever you want to call it. They are still there. They are united as a country. Okay. Yeah, Great Britain, how does it disintegrate? Northern Ireland, Wales, and the likes. They also feel like they are being deprived of their right. Great Britain is taking advantage of them, England. And what did they do? They started, I mean, Northern Irish Republican Army is there, just like the Biafra boys are doing. Ultimately, they were given a chance and they negotiated for a better life. They got themselves something better out of that protest and terror organization. So why are we not learning from history
Mark Ban
and
has
then
destroyed
moving
Nigeria
forward?
more than
No,
IRS.
no.
And
Hey,
then
Mark
come
if
on,
Ban,
man.
Mark
another
Ban.
thing,
Mighty Allah. Mighty
please,
Allah has
please, yes. If again, if somebody can just be interrupted and just say, if you don't agree with my point, you are not allowed to stop me from talking. I will still go with my opinion. That is how we get it wrong all the times. Instead of correcting somebody in a polite way, this is a civil conversation. We are not savages. This is a civil conversation. If you can have this conversation in a rowdy way, how do you expect to negotiate for a better deal for your people, even if it means secession. Okay, how many countries in the world or geographical locations in the world want to be a country, but they didn't get that? Somaliland has declared itself independent from Somalia, but no nation has recognized Somaliland. Even they pretend to operate as a nation. It's not everybody that wants a nation gets a nation. In Spain, they are having the same issue. If we want to forge ahead as a nation, you have to negotiate it with those people. You have to confront the fact that some people have been wronged. You admit it. Okay, what are we going to do about that? Then you all sit together, negotiate for a better way. Just as the former, Jonathan tried with the National Sovereign Conference. If you can have something like that again, and then use the recommendations in that from whatever they got, then all of you will come to the negotiating table and say, this is what we want. We are demanding this because of that. Therefore, if you are able to make your case, good case, and you have a support, then you get your own country or get at least what you want. We are fooling ourselves that we are practicing.
Enough of this insult. I'm not going to understand why you come in the first place.
We are actually not operating the true federalism. That's the point. We are not operating in full
all right,
federalism. Thank you. I'm going down because I don't think I will
Goodbye. Goodbye.
be listening to
hold on, guys.
Goodbye.
Polo, you can come on Saturday.
Why did you stop me in the first place?
Hold on.
Let us make correction now. Let us correct.
No. I want to know why I was stopped. Why did you stop me for him to start? I want to know why. You stopped me in the middle of my submission. Why?
If you allow me, I will tell you why. I said,
thank you.
When you finish speaking, I will allow you to respond. That's what I said. I'm not crazy now. I'm looking at everybody.
Of course.
So go ahead and make your own. He has given his own idea. That is
that is not a response. That is an insult.
If you can just see a name,
you have made your point. Can I?
That's how we are brought up. Like, okay, once you see Okadi, we assume is a Igbo guy.
I thought you had made a submission.
This is.
Excuse me.
Identities. You don't know who I am because I wrote it. That doesn't mean I'm the one. You didn't use your name, CM. Tani, go forefathers. KJ, what is that?
Polo, go to forefathers. On Saturday, go and visit forefathers.
I want to make a correction. Okadi never presided over any constitution.
I've always been told my English was quite clear. I don't need to explain further. There would be a breakdown of law and order. That's what they're begging for. I just wanted everybody to know that I'm not too old to shy away such responsibility if it comes. That's all. How can you take a people like the Ndibo and try and to impose on them a leadership? It's not possible. It was possible before, but after Biafra, no. Everybody knows that.
Okay, everybody knows this, that is right now impossible to impose leadership on the Igbos.
Exactly.
The matter is that we are going to keep talking, and the time has come for us to talk. But we have to be cordial in this platform to be able to hear one another. And so I beg your indulgence. I plead your indulgence to be patient. Everybody will have a time to talk. And I have only 15 more minutes on this program. So I'm going to, as much as possible, allow VA to.
Don't worry. I will carry on the second round. Anybody that wants to
Oh God.
The
Oh
right
God.
man opinion.
Oh God.
Hey,
Oh God.
Mazi, stop it. Stop it.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh God. What for that, please?
That attitude there.
Ovie, go ahead.
I have a question for you. What did I say? Yes. What did I, for the amount you allow me to speak, what did I say?
No, you asked me a question. I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of variables.
No. KJ. Let's be serious here. I noticed that anytime I'm given opportunity to talk, as soon as I finish one statement, everybody will jump on them. Like if everything that I know I'm saying, when I know before, why they not talk I just ask you, what did I say? You stop me in the middle. Hold on now, let me say.
I try to protect everybody, but I cannot hold their mouth. That's why I put that.
Hold on, that's not the point I'm making. I'm talking to you directly because I don't know why you stop me. That's why I asked you, what did I say? Maybe it is what I said that make you to stop for you to interject. What was my summation? Because I'm confused.
I don't know.
Like, our problem here, you know why you could not respond? Because there's a reason we deny history. I am giving you history, how we are stranger in our midst that decide to put foot in our house. And you stop me to give that stranger to insult us of our injury, telling me that the Nigeria is already there. We have no choice, we have to negotiate. Who the fuck funded in Nigeria?
Ovie, what I wanted you to understand.
I'm not asking you a question. We be serious here.
But I want to respond to that. You see, Ovie, that person.
I want to respond to what I said first. What was my summation? It is a question. What was it?
You see, Ovie, sorry. KJ, if you had allowed me, I would have cleared all this air. But well,
you see, it's a program, and everybody cannot be speaking at the same time.
It is not as I said. I just asked you a question. What did I say? Just repeat what I said, and I'll be okay. Because everybody is not speaking.
Even you guys are not allowing me as a moderator to even moderate. So
no. Hold on. KJ, you give me the floor to speak. I was speaking. Everybody was quiet. You just stopped me. So I'm wondering why. So what did I say that?
It was you who jumped. Oh God. Okay, let's leave that.
This is not the first time you've been around when people interjected. Come on, man.
I'm not talking about interjection. I just remind me what I said. It's as simple as that.
You need to. You remember what you
said.
Can
you remind him what you
said? It's not about me remember. Why? Because there's a reason why I was. Hold on. Okay, let me tell you why I was interjected. Hold on now. Let me tell you why I was interjected in case you don't know, KJ. I was interjected because I was giving. Hold on now. Let me tell you. You're taking us in a stranger. No, the first time the attack can hear me this. What do you know about that place where people women I don't know? I am giving you history. What do bring and come? That is why he interjected and stop it. You're going to tell me about 1990s. Who cares about 90s? Who cares about the Senate president and all that? Who cares about the Nigerians? Who put it together? So the person that interjected, know why he interjected. If you did not know, and that's our problem. He is telling us that we have to negotiate. That's our wants. Who the fuck are you for me to negotiate with you? And that's our problem. Just God on the table that we have to negotiate. When you put God on the table for negotiation, what choice are you giving me? So our problem is not now. Our problem is history that they did not teach us. How did we come together as one? If we don't answer that question, nothing will progress. So that is why he interjected. Tell us we have to negotiate. Negotiate. What are you negotiating with? What are you bringing on the table that we have to negotiate with you? Who are you in the first place? A stranger join us together. I'm trying to intervene that stranger. I tell him I have to negotiate. When I'm still under the shackles of that stranger, it is because you too are a stranger. So when somebody is interjecting, we should know the reason behind the interjection. Because it did not come to contradict my history that I was saying. But I tell me, no, we have to negotiate. And you guys are listening. Tomorrow you ask me, what can somebody to talk? Based on what? What is the criteria?
If you allow me 30 seconds to just join to help you
Informations are bound.
Please, Ovie, borrow me 30 seconds. You see?
Okay. No, before you say
there are a lot of lies. The guy is just spewing lies. That's why I said, if today is Monday, somebody cannot come and tell me it is Friday, saying in your opinion. That is what I meant when I say if today is Monday, somebody will come and tell me today is Friday. After all, my opinion. No way. I can't take that. I can't take that nonsense. Okadibo never presided over a constitution. In a democratic setup, the custodian of the constitution is the commander-in-chief, the president, not Okadibo. As a matter of fact, the 1999 constitution he's referring to is not autochthonous. It's not a product of Nigerians. It was done by Professor Amamudu Yadudu, Awalu Yadudu of ABU of BUK Kanu, the man that Abdul Salam gave to write it. Obasanjo was not sworn in with the constitution because it wasn't ready.
CM. That is not the origin of our constitution. Hold on, CM. Our constitution had the handwriting of the CIA. So his German constitution. So his Japanese constitution. So is every thesis of constitution in the world. The world does not run on divine. Now people they run on. He knows. He knows that's why he will not go to history. That's why he calls it forget about the constitution.
You guys don't understand what these people are. These people, I lived with them almost 30 years with this Polo. He left. KJ doesn't want us to tackle this guy. This guy came here and told you that Jonathan is a Biafran, and he conducted a confab. The same confab that even Tinubu, Arewa Consulting Forum, refused to accept when Buhari came. When Buhari came, excuse me.
Hold on, let me finish my time. The issue they do us. Oil was discovered in the Middle East in the 17th and 18th century. So they understand why they're in our country. Hold on. They understand why they're in Nigeria. Let me finish.
Excuse me.
They are not in Nigeria because of anything. They are in Nigeria because of the oil.
Excuse me, guys. I want you to understand something. One of the things I want us to understand is this. Exactly what Polo have done is exactly what they always do. Now, you cannot discuss with this guy with emotion. You see, he controls his emotion. Even though he may be very angry, but you can't see it on his face.
KJ, you are not being fair. Hold on. No, KJ, it's not fair. No. We are getting emotion towards you, not him. He's not making any sense. It is you that they are being controlled, being used, that you don't understand.
Hey, Ovie, how many people are you going to shout out? There are hold on. There are more than 30 million of Polo who believe what he believes out there in the street of Lagos and in the
hold on. That's our problem. You understand? You are looking at what you are seeing today. You can never understand today. I'm telling you, oil was discovered in the Middle East, 17th and 8th century. So before they were coming, they know we had oil. That's when it's bringing them. If you think they're not get to it, you know what time, I swear to God, my freeze. You don't pay attention. Listen, you don't pay attention to what is going on in the world.
Are you going to moderate a program also? Hold on now.
I am just attacking you based on the technique. What is happening? I'm not easy. This is not the first time.
But
you think we should have a conversation. I'm giving you the reason why the conversation can never be had at any place.
Are not agreeing to cooperate with the moderator. There are many people who are sitting here who have not spoken. They are just waiting for you, and you are the only person. Look, this Mazi ICO. I have been sitting here since.
You don't want to agree that it is your fault that make me keep talking. Now you confirm now. Admit your fault first, so we can move forward. That's why we are in Nigeria. You don't want to admit your own fault. It is not me. I keep talking because you spoke up along the way.
For moving forward, you are the one who's stopping us from moving forward. Chim is here. He's not spoken. How many other people are here now? Come on, guys.
Anyway, KJ, please, next time, if this Polo is coming, to be honest, in all fairness to him, he's far below par to come here and be talking. He knows next to nothing. Even the history, he knows. He just comes here. He may think he's making sense.
We're in a platform where we're following a discussion.
Please, he maybe next time let him find his level somewhere. He can't come here and be
Tony,
talking.
Tony, please put off your mic.
How can a
Put on
German, how
what?
can
Put off your
Jonathan
mic.
is a
Okay, let me put it off for you. Don't worry.
Jonathan, President Jonathan is a Joe, but he's calling him a Biafran.
Okay,
If we
okay.
tomorrow, if we claim him now, if I say Jonathan is like me,
Yeah.
they will say Igbo man is going to grab land. They are just include. But now you look at the way he's categorizing a proud Ijaw man. For that matter, he said Jonathan is a Biafran. He should have done it. What nonsense are we talking about? He doesn't know even anything about Nigerian history. He's just rambling. And
Okay,
because he doesn't, he just
CM,
come here to confuse.
CM,
Let him stay away.
CM, hold on. CM, hold on. Don't you think that people who he's talking to know the truth?
But
Yes,
he's
you see,
wasting our he's wasting our
hold
time.
on,
That is
hold
the
on,
issue.
hold on.
He's wasting our time.
It's a public platform. It's a public platform. He has taken his time to wait. He has been waiting since. Okay? At least the best we can do is to anybody who comes here has come to put his own idea. We may not all agree, but let's hear the foolishness that he has. Okay, in the same way, if I'm talking, you may not agree with what I'm saying, but listen to my foolishness and at least give me the opportunity to express it. I may not be a professor just like you, but that is my, Igbos have a proverb. Every madman gets in sense. So let's allow them to say what they have, and then we can equally bring our own view. If they want to learn, they learn. If they don't want to learn, that's okay. We cannot continue moving forward by making the whole place look rowdy, and all the time I have has finished. So since
There
Paul
should be
Father has published,
there should be
Paul
minimum
Father is going to
standard.
continue the second.
KJ, can I speak? I've been quiet since.
Yes, Tony, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to Sony. I'm sorry to Jide. I'm sorry for.
Tony, pride is not a gentleman attribute, though. So
I'm sorry for Benson. Ovie, my brother, no agree make una talk. He just a shout since. So,
no. You don't give me my opinion. Go ahead, there, Tony.
Go ahead, I beg. Tony, go ahead as we round up.
Yes, I think that let's be honest. You know what Pulo just did just shows that there are deep-seated. There's we still have deep-seated animosity, bad blood, and lack of understanding of Nigerian history. Because the reason why, I was getting emotional, with what he was saying, because he did say that the reason why the Igbos are their situation is the way it is because they caused the coup, and that's historically not true. That's why I referred to him. I said, listen, that's not the reason, because even before the coup, we've had killings, because he was talking about killings of, that's why I referred to the just killing in 1945, and then the killings of the Igbos also in 1953. So which shows that, ingrained in the system, even before independence, we've had some serious challenges that were probably not properly sorted out, and we carried that into independence. And so it didn't take long before all those things started manifesting. But I think that, it's a shame. I don't know if they brought back history to in Nigerian school, because if these are the young people, Polo went to NCE, he went to tertiary institution, probably also went to university. And if you see someone who is a young person speaking the way he speaks, then I think we have a problem. I think we have not, as a nation, we haven't done well, So, and you cannot build a nation like that where people have, I have deep-seated animosity against Nigeria. And I've said some of the reasons why here. And Righteous Man came here and he said he has a reason to be angry with Nigeria. Now, you cannot just tell people, just sweep all those things under the carpet and say, we just continue as if they... No. You got to, even South Africa tried, you got to let people talk about these things. And then you have to honestly sit down and say, okay, how do we move forward? Polo is saying that, okay, people come together and then you vote. And how can you vote when you don't have equal justice, equal distribution of representation? Because as it is, I mean, if you take Lagos, for instance, it has more population than Kano, but Kano has more local governments. If you take the regions, again, we've talked about this here, and this is obvious. It's not a question of somebody is lying. We're saying that, for instance, the Southeast has 5 states. And the implication is far-reaching because it means that in terms of representation, you are denied representation at the Senate, at the House, governor, and all that. And so if you are talking about voting, you are shortchanged. If you are talking about revenue, you are receiving less. Roads, infrastructure, you are receiving less. So how can you now say, okay, you want justice, and you don't want them to talk about these injustices that you have? And when they talk, you say, oh, there's marginalization. These are facts. And that's not saying that you don't. And then the thing that you hear people say is that, oh, every other person is marginalized. But there are glaring inequalities, there are glaring injustices that you can see all over the place. You address it. Now you don't keep on rubbing it in someone's face. You are a defeated person. You kill people. You did. What of the counter coup? Okay, let us say you revenge. Let us assume, okay, the Igbos caused the coup, which is not true. Now you revenge. So why are you still carrying this thing? Why are you still carrying this thing? Every time you say you caused the coup, you caused the coup. You did it again over and over again. And you ruled and ruled and ruled and ruled. So what are we talking about?
It's really strange how we interpret information. When he spoke here, I didn't see. I think it's because we feel very passionately about this. He's coming from the point of view of trying to say that we need to find a way to move forward. He's not trying to say that.
No. You didn't listen to him initially. If you listen to him, I'll be an issue.
What he
Which
said,
stay humble to say, listen, if this is what we're going to talk here, I'm quitting.
Exactly.
You didn't listen to him.
I don't move forward when you don't want to understand the past. You cannot move forward without the past. You can't just see the past and not
The volume of your
living in the past. Is China living in the past?
Listen, this is about Biafra. We are here to discuss about Biafra. Let us discuss this thing.
Germany is not a free nation. If you want to educate you, I will.
Gentlemen,
what do you mean it's not a free nation? Are they
my
brother, they are not living in the past.
Hold on. Today, even after speaking, I will give you evidence of today news that is not a free nation. What are you talking about?
I said something else and you're saying something else.
I'm talking about Germany is not a free nation up to today.
Excuse me.
Did I say that?
I live in.
I'm listening to the stories of officers and the men who are taking the events of it became clear that coup had been planned and led by Major Murtala Mohammed and Major Kyari and carried out by a range of more junior officers. He soon knew that Ironsi was dead and that the coup leaders were inside Ikeja barracks. It became plain from his stream of growing information that if the coup had any political intent, it was aimed at pulling the North out of Nigeria, for fluttering above Ikeja barracks was a new and strange flag, the flag of the Republic of Northern Nigeria. It remained there for 18 days. When he telephoned Army headquarters in Lagos to try to speak with the Army Chief of Staff, Yakubu Gowon, he found his officer had left. In fact, Gowon had already arrived at breakfast time at Ikeja barracks that morning of 29 July and was closeted with the leaders of the coup. By sundown, it was plain that seizure and killing of Eastern officers and soldiers was going on in army barracks all over the west and the north. This pattern went on for 3 days. The coup leaders locked up in Ikeja barracks with only Gowon shuttling between Ikeja and Lagos City. The flag of secession fluttering over the barracks, while the awful killing of Eastern soldiers and civilians went on inside, and more killings going on elsewhere as the army, last bastion of national unity, tore itself apart. When the secessionist aim of the coup leaders became known, a cold wind swept through many quarters, but nowhere more than through the British High Commission.
Okay, I just want to play that so that people who think that we didn't arm ourselves before coming for this discussion should know we have enough information. These are independent producers. One was done by Freddie Forsyth, who also had a commentary on his own. I have more than 5 or 6 of those different accounts. Even some documentary producers like myself who did their own account, but they reduce it to just the final days of Ifajina and Ojuku before, I mean, as a theater artist, I know they try to dramatize it, and at the end, I was happy that he said that these are fictions, not actually the exact word or what actually happened. In any case, I just want to say this. You see, it's difficult for us to keep deceiving ourselves, whether we are for the Biafra or we are for Nigeria. Something got to give. And what is the thing that got to give? We cannot tell ourselves lies. We can't keep telling. You see, look, I didn't fight the war, but now I'm feeling pained by what I see. As long as those things keep happening, my son will grow up and ask me, Daddy, why am I not able to, get foreign funding, get funding from government, or get this or get that, and that anger will go from generation to generation. The Bible puts it this way: once it goes to a third generation, it becomes a principality. Okay, it becomes a principality, and after that, it becomes what? It becomes something that will not go away again. So, gentlemen, no matter how you feel about it, we need to tell ourselves the truth. It's either we want to be a nation or we want to all go. And, Mr. Polo says something which I hear a lot of people say. How many countries do you want to divide? How many will people be? There are some nations in Europe that are less than 2 million people. And they are still a nation.
1 million, sir.
I want you to go to.
Let me just share something quickly that I
hold on. I'm rounding up, and then after that you can start to do that. Now, the nation of Estonia has one of the advanced technologies in Europe, and they are less than how many are they? How many are they in Estonia? And they're doing very well.
About 4 million.
Yeah. So
there's nothing like Estonia. Hold on, there's nothing like Estonia technology. Those are transfer technology from America. Get your history point.
I didn't say that. I said they are one. They transfer. They were able to.
People when they free, they invent technology. People when they free, they invent technology. Go and read your history. You cannot free. You cannot invent technology.
Come on now, don't do that now. Come on. The Japanese
all right.
stuff.
Since I cannot no longer be able to.
You know the history of the Japanese. You want to go to the history of the Japanese?
Yeah, they are not free, but they are inventing technology. That's my point. I'm just trying to correct.
What is the Japanese technology? How it starts?
All right.
And why they never go forward since that time when they start out?
You really come for fight today.
Yes, because this is the weapon of today is misinformation, not be gone. What we consume. If you don't know more now, that's why you form that name, information warfare. That is the revolution that we are in today, not be gone again. That's why for this celebrated trying to give us freedom. Second, our ancestors will be ashamed of us. But when we treat with with our mouth, it's 2025.
All right, guys.
Please, who has the link? Who has the link to Professor Banji Akintoye's in the latest?
The link is in the private chat. You can join the live stream.
Okay. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. On this faithful note, I will say thank you so much. Chim, can you quickly say something, and then I'll give.
KJ, please, can I say something just before I go down because I want to sleep. It's morning here.
It's morning too here too. I want to sleep.
It's morning for both of you. Okay.
KJ, after he speaks, let me just use 30 seconds to share something I experienced 2 weeks ago. It is relevant to this conversation that we just had.
All I want to say is this is not far from what we're discussing here. My own stake in all this discussion today was all about freedom. That's the greatest thing on the surface of this earth. The most expensive gadget or the most expensive thing on the surface of this earth is freedom. We need freedom. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whom KJ said something about bringing the federal government and the southeastern governors to tell them this is what we want, this is what, if they can be able to put this in order, I will drop the agitation of Biafra. Until today, no one has questioned those things that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has given to the federal government, that this is what I needed so that I can drop this agitation. They did not do it, and you expect him to drop it? It's not possible. So all I'm saying is this: go back, like what Jonathan said here before when I played an audio. Before Nigeria, what was your name? That's who you are. Before the name Nigeria, Go back. What was the name of your forefathers? That's who you are. So, in essence, what I'm trying to summarize here is this: what we need is freedom, and that freedom is Biafra. Either the government give us the freedom or the Biafra, or we take it the way we want it. That's the only thing. That's the biggest thing. One of the reasons why Nnamdi Kanu is still holding him upon his truth, and that's the only thing that we can use to conquer the Nigeria. Nothing but the truth. Thank you so much, and have a blessed night.
So much, and that's what Nnamdi Kanu said, that he is going to use the truth to conquer Nigeria, and so far he has lived up to it. All right, Chief.
Well, let me just say one quickly. While I sympathize with the developmental issues of the southeast and south as experienced, because you can see the shape of Nigeria is because of a form of tribalism or some geopolitical, the arrangement of the country because of Lagos being in the southwest region, so you can see development moving in that direction. However, this idea that what existed before now was any better, you forgot what happened when we had that. We were colonized. We played this game, we lost. We were colonized, and the future has even rushed towards us right now, and we are still trying to go back to a game that we lost before. Secondly, I was having a conversation with South Sudanese just last week.
The first one you were wrong, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with South Sudanese just last week. And their conversation was similar to this one, and they are talking about breaking the country into three nations because they felt that the Dinka was dominating the country. The Dinka, the Nuer, the Dinka make up 36% of the population, the Nuer make up about 15% of the population, and the minorities, there's a smaller minority that is 30%, that is 3%. Then the rest are even smaller, but they make up about 48% of the population. And that 48% of the population is hardly represented in the government at all. The two top ones were dominating the country completely. So what I found in that conversation was that they broke away from the north because of Islamization. And during that conversation, it turns out that Islamization was still in the country that they are in, that they are fighting for right now again. And the division involved in that country made me think that, oh my God, compared to Nigeria, these guys, I have big problems. Because Nigeria, because I just almost that same week, I know that the Nigerian military was complaining that Southeasterners were not registering into the military because Nigeria requires, by constitution, for every region to be represented. But that's not like that in South Sudan. Two major groups dominate everything. Go and check it. Whether you're going to see any of the smaller groups as ministerial positions, they give them token positions.
Okay, but Fafada,
the point I'm making is that they broke away from a bigger country, and the problems are still there.
Fafada, hold on. And I don't want to argue with you because I'm a moderator.
That big country, was it big before? Not to put them together. What is the history of South Sudan? Talk about their history first.
You break it to smaller one, the problem remains.
Hold on.
Because it's a bigger problem.
We're not South Sudan. And because it's going on in South Sudan doesn't mean we must adopt it. That's one. Two, we are not saying that, I mean, why should we accept Islamization? Are we breaking away because of Islamization? We are breaking away because we're asking for separation because you guys the Nigerian nation have refused to accept that the right things be done and right places be put. What is due somebody will be given to the person. That's what we are. Forefather, to you, and I believe if you're not, you're probably from.
Njenje, can I ask you a question? It is not a bad thing to run from Islamization. Don't be shy away from that. Yes, we run away from Islamization.
Njenje, can I ask you a question?
You see, no.
Can I ask you a question? It's
very
important.
My KJ, it's not time for us to talk.
Join the next stream. Emmanuel Benson, you should never say anything here. You can
my friend, I don't want to join you where you are. I don't want to join where you
are. We are coming.
Oh my blessing. He's going to come there and start making noise. So,
I don't want to join where you
are. If you guys are not going to allow me to talk, I will shut down the whole thing now.
Did they want to talk now? Allow you to talk.
Yeah,
did they just come in now?
Let me keep quiet.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Chim, do you want to wait for the next stream? I want to make your contribution quietly before I leave.
No, my dear, there's nothing to contribute. Everybody should go home.
That's all I mean to dismiss Nigeria.
Okay.
Anyway, KJ, to be honest with you, let us not laugh over this issue. Discussions about Biafra is serious. It's about human being. This is a month of Biafra. We prepare to have a serious dialogue. But somehow, some people will think that it's part of a usual Nigerian dialogue. Anybody can come and throw one type of jab or lie and start to look. Ideally, ordinarily, we could have screened some people out. It's not bad. Saturday, you come back for the usual stuff. We are discussing something that is highly, highly sacred, psychological, traumatic, philosophical, and physical. The injury is so deep. When we come around to discuss it, we are not. This is if you don't, you see, if I'm the host, I should have screened some people out, not because I hate you. Saturday, you can come in. This is purely something that is pure sacred. People will come and laugh over it, and they start to throw lies, even belittle some effort made, even say something that will even offend the spirit of those that we lost. We are not. The Jews don't joke. Jews don't joke with Holocaust. This is the magnitude, and this is the scope. I'm coming. You will talk, but let me say this because sometimes.
CM. So wait, join the other. I've already overshot my time by 15 minutes. And you see, I agree with what you've said. What you've said is very true. So I'm holding this discussion tomorrow, a part 3 of it, or a new topic, but under still Biafra issue. And I'm going to bring people in badges. So it's not going to be everybody crowded through, so that we don't have to have this, uncontrolled rowdiness. So to be in badges, and you come, you make your contribution. For those who are for, I will bring them in. Those who are against, I'll bring them in. So we all can have something that all of us can go home with something we have learned. I want to thank everybody. And you see, my only challenge is that why they are saying all this, they're not paying, they're not giving us any money. So at the end, it is Rudolph that will pay the subscription fee alone. So if they were throwing money,
I didn't talk in your program. I did not talk in your program more than 2 hours ago.
I'm in trouble. You're in trouble. If you tomorrow, I promise you will talk for 5 minutes non-stop. I'm really
tomorrow is not promised, my friend.
I'm very sorry. Ovie is one of the people causing wahala in this place. I will remove him now. Okay, thank you so much. Please wait for Forefather. He's going to put up a stream for all of us to eventually come in. Me too. I want to come and argue and make the program ungovernable for him also, since they tend to do that. I thank you, Tony. You are with us right from the beginning, even to this moment. I thank you, Chim. Even though you had a very busy list, you still came in. Thank you. I really appreciate. And Ovie, thank you so much for support. Check your audio. You didn't allow to hear most of what you're saying. It's cracking. Either you bring down the volume or you change the system. Thank you. And I appreciate all of you who came and those who didn't appear, who couldn't talk. Benson, I'm so sorry. I really, really feel sorry about that. Tomorrow I'll make you my anchor man so that we can hear much of what you're going to say. And on that faithful note, I'll say something. What I'm going to say is very simple. And as simple as it is this. Whether we like it or not, I don't know whether people think, Nigeria is a game. Is it a game, or are we building a nation? If it's a game, let's keep playing it. But I don't think it's supposed to be a game. It's a nation we're trying to put together. And if we're trying to put a nation together, what we are doing will not give us that result. If you do not want the Igbos, let them go. It's as simple as that. We don't want to, in fact, some people say Igbos are looking for more states. We're not looking for South-South. We're not looking for South whatever. We're looking for those who identify themselves as Igbos, who want to be with the Igbos. And just like Professor Mo said last week, no, you don't have to force you to be Igbo. We're not looking for, we are enough. We are more than enough. by ourselves. And just like Nnamdi Kanu said, in the proposed state, the Republic of Biafra, it is idea that's the idea. We're going to use idea from our head, not oil. We're not depending on oil. We're not depending on those things you are thinking that's the reason why we're fighting. No, we're asking that justice, equity, and righteousness reign in the land of Nigeria. Doesn't matter whether you're thief, whether you're Igala, whether you're Idoma, whether you're Basange, Itolu, Igede, whichever one. It doesn't matter whether you are, Angas, Birom, Jukum. Just, or what's the other one that's a tribe I like so much in Basankomo. Okay? It doesn't matter. What matters is that we are a nation, and a nation should be built on certain principles. America is great because there's no topic that is too much for the American people to sit in the Congress and discuss and have a robust discussion. Not anybody looking at somebody and looking at him as inferior and therefore he's no. And that is why they will continue to be great. Those who are thinking America is going to fall are wasting their time, because these people have a mind to build something, that can be emulated by others. We need to wake up. We cannot wake up when we are having people, ruru to the answer. Senate President, Speaker of the House, President, you can't hold anybody, anything. Uru have become, mago jikwiti have become the order of the day in Nigeria. How be it? How be it? And then when certain, you see, I won't say anything. So let's meet tomorrow when we'll continue this discussion. For today, we thank you for joining. I so much like all of you who were able to give us support right from the beginning. Tomorrow we'll be here at the same time and to hold this discussion, again. Please watch out for advertisements and all that. Until then, I want to say thank you so much for the support that came from, where is the persons? Can't seem to see them. Yeah, one guy. Yeah, T-Mac. T-Majek. Please, thank you so much. You gave us $1.99, so we appreciate it. And though it's not enough for me to buy coffee, but at least I'll put my $4 on it to make sure it reaches to buy coffee. God bless you and bless every one of you and keep you until we meet tomorrow. On that faithful note, I want to say that let us use the song of Ekwe. Although onye aji ụgwọ, ndị Igbo although onye aji ụgwọ, and that is our thing. Onye when the we were big we also cause one be we all get to buy somewhere again. Thank you so much. Have a good night, all of you.
Nekwekwe kona bia nanya na kebe nekwekwe kona bia ebem jelu ekweje gwanu mi femgeme omo agbatalu gwanu mi femgeme ejimgugwo ekwe mbadike ekwe mbadike ekwe anọkwa mbeme ijelobia iwe bụ akpa ego ebia iwe dọkwasị m n'ụkwụ iwe na yọm weju iwe na-ebe akwa